I have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe-to-toe with me on that?
You've completely, like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Yes, good evening. Welcome back to the Spurs 5 for episode 3. And we've got some positivity. Everyone's going to be on their best behaviour. Everyone is beaming from even Stel, from there to there. Everyone's in love with Thomas Frank. Spurs have beaten Arsenal. We're going to talk about it. Lads, this isn't a therapy session, so I'm just going to assume that you're all right before we jump into it. Is everyone okay?
All good.
Good.
Yes.
First of all, thank you to everybody out there who has liked, subscribed, and hit the notification bell for the channel. We're growing in a big way. Thank you to all of you for that. And hopefully you've been enjoying the shows. I do like reading the comments afterwards where one person hates me, the next one hates Stel, the next one hates Johnny, and then Lubo and Sean. We feel loved and hated in equal amounts. Thank you very much. It keeps us grounded. Thank you. Guys, today we're going to talk about, we've got to, Arsenal, we've got to talk about this. We've got to talk about this. Matt Law saying we've got to sell to buy. And we're going to talk about Newcastle on Sunday. What we're also going to talk about is Palhinha. So we'll start with this. Let me come to you first, Lubo. Arsenal 0, Spurs 1. There was utter meltdown at the weekend. Meltdown. We were getting relegated. Thomas Frank was the worst manager in the world. People want to rip up their season tickets. We're crap. We're not going to win a game. And then Spurs turn up today. What did you make of it?
Listen, pre-season friendly, we said that beforehand, didn't we? And it's about getting minutes in legs. It's about seeing the team get time together, start gelling. But we're going to have a new chant, aren't we? 17th, I've changed this song. We won it in Hong Kong. So, yeah, listen, always nice to beat the Woolwich, isn't it? Always lovely to beat them. So, and some good performances along the way.
Good. Sean.
And hang on, can I just say one more thing?
Sorry, I thought you'd finished.
I mean, what's going on? We had a coach. We had a coach that was on the touchline talking to the players. Have you seen that before?
Not for a long time. Not for a long time.
I thought you said there was a coach going through Hong Kong with support.
There was that as well, wasn't there? We saw that. We saw a video of that.
Go on, Shawnee.
Let me go, Sean. What? I'll let you go. What did you make of it, mate? What did you make of today?
Yeah, I honestly thought it was superb. Right? Listen, put aside all of that. It's just a friendly. It doesn't matter. It does matter. It does matter when it's against Arsenal. It doesn't matter to me in what format you're playing Arsenal. You have to do your best. And I think that the difference that you could see from not just the Tottenham players, not just Thomas Frank, not just the fans, the exact same energy was being sort of demonstrated on the other side. Arsenal fans once they've calmed down, will probably turn around. It doesn't matter. It's just a friendly. No. When that whistle went at 12:30 today, everyone cared. There was spiciness on the pitch. There was some nasty challenges. Mikel Arteta doing what he does, coming out of his technical area, annoying Pedro Porro this time. It was Højbjerg a few years ago. There was time-wasting accusations. It felt like it was a competitive game overseas in Europe or something. It really, really did matter. And that's where, for me, I'm so pumped because against Luton, I was there. Against Reading, we were there, Johnny. Against, I know Lubo was there at Luton as well. Against Wickham, I never saw it. But if those games, when they're pre-seasons and it's against lower league opposition, you can kind of get around the idea of thinking, it's just a fitness test. It may be experimentation in tactics. Today, it felt competitive. And this Arsenal team has been touted as the best team in the league at the moment, or the second best at least, certainly a title favourite. On today's evidence, without any meaningful transfers having taken place, bar the exception of Kudus, and Arsenal having all of their business done, 5-6 new players coming in, we went toe-to-toe with them. Defensively, we were rock solid, organised and disciplined, which is what we've been calling for, which is what all the people who wanted Ange to go, wanted a new manager to come in. We saw what we were looking for. We saw set pieces that were so much more threatening on the offensive line, from corner kicks. I think we hit the woodwork a couple of times. Defensively, one of the best teams in the game from offensive corner kicks and set pieces, had nothing against us. I don't think they got a shot on target, a meaningful shot, maybe one meaningful shot on target from 25 yards or something. I mean, it was a wonderful performance from the individuals as well. And it was good to see players being experimented with in various positions, like Lucas Bergvall in the 10 today, showing us we've got a little bit of versatility, a little bit of unpredictability about us. And then I know we're going to come to it later, but as soon as that game finished, with all of the plaudits, second trophy in a couple of months for Tottenham, as soon as that was finished, then to get some noise around some possible transfer news as well. The mood around Tottenham right now, surely everybody must be going, okay. Everything suddenly feels a little bit better, and I'm here for it. I love it. And Arsenal, you're in the mud. Arteta, you're in the mud.
Muddy. Very muddy. Yeah.
Johnny, I've pulled up Mark's comment here. It's structured.
Sorry, I'm trying to stop myself smiling. Go on.
Structured, composed, and committed. It's coming together slowly but surely. Structured, composed, and committed. Did you feel that way, Johnny?
100%. Phase 1, excellent. Phase 2, excellent. Phase 3, final third of the pitch, a lot more work to be done. I've spoken a lot about a very basic training routine over the last 2 or 3 weeks that people thought was a bit nuts over. And that was just a simple routine of put the ball into the box, firing balls in, and the defenders and the midfielders, all their job had to do was race across the box and block the shot. Jump up, run, block. Half an hour of just running and blocking shots. Because first and foremost, right, we got to stop conceding goals. And we conceded 63 goals last season. And the amount of times last season I was screaming at defenders, why are you standing off him? Why are you standing off him? There was none of that today. In that first half, we were absolutely brilliant. I actually thought Porro was fantastic. I thought Jedley King, Jed Spence, unbelievable. Cooties.
Sorry, did you just say Jedley King?
Jedley King. That's what Sean and I call him. Jedley King, right? Jedley King. In fact, I think Sean called it to him first. I got credit where it's due. And
what a man.
Yeah, you got to give credit where credit's due. And I thought the nutmeg on Havertz, taxi for Havertz, where he was like scratching his head, did that just happen in his own box? He got in about 4 or 5 blocks. The transition, midfield, Papasar playing further up, winning the ball, Bergvall trying to deliver the ball. And the thing that I've spoken about a lot, the triangles on the flanks, players trying to overrun, no player being left out on his own. 1, 2, 3, was absolutely loving it. Look, the final third needs a lot to be desired. Richarlison, he's had 260 minutes. He might be fit, but he don't look match fit, that's for sure. Odegaard looked better than Kudos, in my opinion.
Oh no!
Yeah, that was my opinion. That was my opinion. I don't listen, I don't think Kudos had a bad game. Don't get me wrong. There was no one that had a bad game. Maybe Richarlison, if it was anyone. But
can't hold on to the ball. Every time he gets the ball, he loses it. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. But look, we're looking at the positives here. Arteta was getting more and more wound up. That incident with Porro where he was blocking the shot. Hello, mate. Hello, we're playing football and you're just the fucking coach, right? Move out the way, right? The liaison between the coach and the other coaches on the bench, looking at the data, looking at stuff, talking to Cochrane, stuff that we just haven't seen. And, all you're looking for after a team that's lost 22 games and conceded 63 goals is some sort of progression. And to fly out
3 days before a game in Asia with all the jet lag and the heat, when Arsenal have been out there for not far off 2 weeks since the 17th of July, and put on a performance like that was absolutely fantastic. And, you know, you could definitely see the legs were tired in the last 15, 20 minutes. You know, some of the subs that come on, Jed and Porro, played the entire game, looked a little bit tired just towards the end there, but they held out, last-ditch defended. And I'll tell you something, I loved his post-game reaction, Thomas Frank, fantastic. And I'm sure all of you have seen the pre-game chat. Some, yeah.
Johnny.
Yeah. Listen, I don't care, mate. I'm not saying listen, read the context, guys. I didn't say he played badly, mate. Read the context. I said they all played well. Only one player probably didn't play brilliant today. And that was...
Johnny, don't get wound up by the chat now. Come on, it's early in the show.
But I know what Stel's doing. He's just dropping the ones. Why don't you drop some of the ones that might agree? What was I going to say to you? I know the trick. Look,
it's not Stel. It's Savva.
Sorry, Savva.
It's me.
Sorry, Stel.
It's me.
Make your pardon.
Let's blame Stel, though.
It's easier. Look, I mean,
rent-free.
I've got to be honest. Right? If you saw that game today and you came away pissed off, or I've seen some comments on my thing, you're delusional. It was a friendly game. Yeah, Arsenal didn't have, you know, Gyökeres till late. Zubamendi and Mourinho didn't play in that double pivot. Yeah, la-da-da-na-na-na-na. You know, Gabriel didn't play. But, yeah, we hit the post twice. We hit the bar, and we scored a cracking goal. And I thought we played absolutely fantastic. If you ain't happy with that, you ain't ever going to be happy.
Well, look, let's go to Stel.
Stel.
Of all the people on this panel, you've been the most vocal in terms of, I'm going to be polite. You've questioned Thomas Frank at every single turn. Everything's been blamed on him, basically. What did you make of that today? From a coaching perspective, isn't that everything we've not seen for 2 years? Just asking for a friend.
I said we need to treat this manager with the same energy we've treated previous managers. That's what I said. I've also said Thomas Frank is a good coach. And I've also said that he's here because he's going to be expected to work with this squad with not too many signings. So that's what I've said. Look, for me, this is where the echo chamber ends. Okay, I'm here, so there's no echo chamber. Look, first of all, I need to address this because no one's mentioned it on any channel.
Everyone sitting comfortably.
Yeah, buckle up, everyone. The state of that pitch was diabolical. How in the hell was that game allowed to go ahead 2 weeks before the season starts? I'm surprised no one got a serious injury. The pitch was awful. It was bobbly. It was cut up. It wasn't cut properly. It was dry. Mate, it was like us playing as kids in the local park back in the 80s. I'm looking at the pitch thinking, this is a joke. But I don't get it.
That pitch is a disgrace. It's a disgrace.
It's a disgrace. And that Stel, just to tell you, everybody, Pips, that Stel is personal friend of Arteta.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. Okay. Honestly, guys, I'm used to going to games, you know, when I was coaching, and you inspect the pitch, and I was looking at the pitch during the game, thinking, this is. Anyway, I had to get off my chest because it's something no one's mentioned. But I thought overall it was a poor game of football to watch. It wasn't a great game to watch as a spectacle. It was pretty boring from both teams. I thought Spurs the first half were more energetic, and we showed more interest going forward than what Arsenal showed. I thought Pape Sarr's goal, one thing a goalie fears more than anything else in football is to be lobbed. It's a goalie's worst nightmare. So Sarr really put one on him. Ray is going to have a sleepless night tonight over that. So well done, Pape Sarr. It was an exquisite lob, and Ray got done like an absolute kipper. Worst, nightmare for him. I thought, look, I can't get caught up in the hurrah and hooray of this because I've said to myself this season, I'm going to give it the whole year. I'm going to assess where we are after 10 games in the season once it started. I'm going to assess where we are at Christmas. Then I'll assess at the end of the year. Because I've been here before with managers where I get too excited too soon or I'm too pessimistic too soon. I just want to see where we go with this because I've got reservations, not necessarily just on Frank, but on the whole dynamic of where we're going this season. And as we go along, I'll be fair. I will be fair with it as we go along. I thought today, Kudus was very, very good. And his dribbling at times was something we seriously lack. And the fact he's got power and strength in the dribble, we're going to need that in the Premier League. And he for me, was better than Odebert, Johnny. So I disagree with you on that one.
That's fair enough.
But the one thing I felt lacking, and it's not his fault, is once he beats the man or beats two men, there's a serious lack of options, which feeds into what you said. The final third needs work. He'd get into a really good place after beating a man. Where's the through ball on? Where's the striker making the run? Where's someone overlapping? Quite often it wasn't there. So we need work on that. I thought Romero's nutmeg in the first half was delicious. He absolutely wrecked that Arsenal attacker with that nutmeg. I thought Jed Spence pocketed Saka. And I'll say it. Whether Saka's tired or he's not up to match speed, I thought Spence pocketed Saka, one of the best wide players in English football.
Was he your man of the match? Who was your? Well, because for me, Jed was my man of the match. I mean, Papasar obviously for the goal, but was he your man? Who was your man of the match? Just out of curiosity.
I think Papasar edges it because I thought he had a really, really good game overall. But if it was Spence, I wouldn't argue it. I personally would have given it to Papasar. Richie has to go. There is no place for him at this club. He's missing the goal from 1 yard out. We've seen this many times before. And even in the second half where Arsenal raised the tempo and we were pinned back and we defended well against set pieces, much, much better than what we've seen under Ange. We were very resolute in defensively. But when we did have the odd counter-attack, there's one time where Richie broke down the middle of the pitch thinking, right, you can feed it left, you can feed it right, you've got runners. He says, I'll run straight into the trouble. He loses possession. I'm thinking, you can't counter-attack. You can't score from 1 yard out. Why are you at this club? So for me, that was the only negative today, Richarlison. But overall, look, it was good, but it wasn't entertaining. And I want to see what happens this season because if this is the way we're going to be, I just want to know how fans react to this. And I'm only saying this because I remember when Conte and Mourinho were here and we were quite defensive, quite pragmatic, and fans didn't like it. I defended it. I was cool with it. I won't turn on it. As long as we're winning, I hope fans accept it because I don't think we're going to be this free-flowing attacking football team, but I do think we're going to be a lot more defensively solid and good for it. It's whether we can get enough attacks going with the current crop of players.
Still, he called it out.
That's the problem, isn't it? The problem is...
Well, look, we desperately need more creativity. There's a lack of creative spark, especially in that 10. If Maddison's not on the pitch...
Can we acknowledge, though, that when we're saying how he played today, that you've got no Maddison, no Kulusevski, and no Solanke up top. Like, you know, the two most creative football players at the club aren't on the pitch. So I don't think, by the way, Thomas Frank plays anything like Conte or Joe. I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think he plays anything like them in any way, shape, or form. Right. Those guys bored me to tears. But Thomas Frank, I
was bored today. I didn't think it was an entertaining game of football. And the previous two games were quite boring as well. So I'm just being honest with you.
Hang on. But as I just said,
I'm not saying we were crap, Johnny. I'm not saying we were bad. We deserve to win, but it's boring.
But as we just said, our creative players aren't on the pitch at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's okay to say, oh, we were bored. I mean, first of all, I wasn't bored. I think what we saw there was a well-structured, well-oiled team that definitely, I agree with what all of you have said. It definitely needs forward. We need a striker and a left winger. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how much people want to talk about.
Absolutely.
Stel or Odebert. These are not good. These are not right now. For the now, they're not scaring anybody. They're not doing enough. We need a left back, a left winger, and a striker.
Can I just wrap up what I was going to say? Right. I'm okay if the football isn't entertaining, free-flowing, but it works and it gets results. Because I backed Conte and I backed Mourinho to the end where many fans didn't. The reason I'm saying this is because again, I don't know, guys. I have no idea what we're going to be like this season. I've said I'm going to give it the whole season. If today is an example of what it's going to look like, I'm interested, before people in the comments lose their minds, I'm interested to see how the fan base reacts to not being entertained, because my experience of most Spurs fans is they want entertainment, and it's a big, it's quite high up the list. So maybe it will be entertaining, guys. Maybe it will be free flow. I don't know.
What you're saying has got validity to it. If you didn't listen to Thomas Frank's post-game reaction, where he clearly said that he was very happy in the first half of the defensive contribution and the midfield. Phase 1, phase 2, but phase 3 was disappointing and needs a lot more work. So in order to have a team that flows the way he wants it to flow, that involves phase 1, 2, and 3 all functioning and combining together. So what you were seeing today was a workmanlike performance where 2 of the 3 phases were in operation, with only 1 of our signings playing and 3 or 4 of our players actually missing from the team. So I don't, for us to make a performance like that, we saw under Ange that if we have 3 or 4 players, we were absolutely appalling, and all we got was excuses of why we can't do this and why we can't do that.
Managers talk, Johnny. Managers talk. So Frank needs to show me, back up what you say, and I get it, right? I've been here before when managers talk. That's all I'm saying.
Didn't his Brentford team score like one of the highest amount in the league? Yeah,
they did. Yeah. Also,
So let me see that now at Tottenham during the season. That's all I'm saying.
Isn't that also like just real quick? We were playing Arsenal today. We're playing Arsenal, right? So if there's a couple of games in the season where you can forgive in the second half, hanging on to a 1-goal lead, testing your defensive, solidarity, your structure in that, and not necessarily going all guns blazing. It's against Arsenal. It's against Liverpool. If we were to set up and play defensive football, get a 1-goal lead, and then sit in and keep it tight against Burnley on the first game of the season, that would be concerning for me. But against Arsenal, I'm more than happy to sit there, see us go 1-0 up, deservedly so, and then in the second half, when they brought on their sort of bigger guns and we had to rotate and bring on our lesser guns, I'm more than happy to have seen the way it played out. I take your point around, do Spurs fans want to have more attractive football? I didn't think today was unattractive, by the way. I think it was well organised and disciplined, but I also just think to overlook the fact it's Arsenal, I think that probably also plays into the reason why it looked a little bit more defensive or a little bit more kind of
also reserved. Is that fans want winning football. I think all this thing about attractive and free-flowing football and all of this, forget it. It's about winning football. And at the moment, Frank has come in, new team, new way of playing. He's still got to strengthen up, and I'm sure there'll be 2 or 3, maybe, hopefully, new players coming in. I think the one thing that I saw today, and I think we saw it at times last season, was I love the fact Spence is on the left. And when you've got players like Salah last season, Saka today, who turn on to, they come inside, which means they turn on to Spence's good foot. And we're all looking. I did a watch along with Savva today, and we're thinking 6 minutes extra. Well, it took Saka 6 minutes to get out of Spence's pocket when he went off when he was substituted, pretty much. And for me,
Lubo. Do you think there's a conversation to be had about Jed Spence replacing Udogie in that starting 11?
Definitely, 100%. 100%. Defensively,
I don't think Udogie's a good defender. I've said it for 2 years. Everyone raves about this bloke like he's brilliant. Now, I'm not Lubo. We've had this chat. I don't necessarily blame him. I don't think he's been coached because he's played in such an appalling system. But can I just add something really quickly to anybody who's talking about not being entertained and this, that, the other? I'm sorry, but this goes down to the manager that you all wanted to keep in. For 2 years, Spurs have been utter tripe at the back. And Ange has got to come in and first and foremost, you build by making yourself organised. So if we're now going to pivot to, but I wasn't entertained and it wasn't good. But first and foremost, he's got to make sure that we are defensively sound. And you saw that the back 4 today, I've never been so happy in my life to see a back 4. most clubs, it's a standard. Our club last year, we had the god-awful manager who played 2 at the back, right? Now we've got a back 4 that all defend. You've got 2 that sit in front of them. And that somebody showed when we're defending as well, we do the 4-2-4 defensive structure, right? Surely he's got to work on that before.
100%. No inverting. No,
well, there was no inverting. But what I would say is this: if we're brutally honest in our heart of hearts, right? It does go to show what we saw today, that you can defend with the players we've got. That all of our players are not as terrible as we think. However, we still need 3 or 4 first-team players.
100%.
We're talking about transfers, isn't it? But we still need forwards. We need to get Kulu or Maddison on the pitch, preferably Maddison. We need one of them on the pitch to be that conduit between centre mid and attack. For me, that's where I think it's a bit harsh when we're talking about being entertained against one of the best teams in the country when all our creative players are not on the pitch.
You know what it is? It's about being functional, to be honest, and pragmatic, and you take your chances when they come along. And both sides had one shot on target the whole,
Conte Mourinho.
Whole game. One shot on target. That was it. I mean,
yeah, but that wasn't the truth. That wasn't the truth, is it? Like we hit the post twice.
Correct, 3 times.
Yeah. So,
right. I mean,
and Conte and Mourinho had Son and Kane in their prime. Like let's not forget that they had Kane and Son. So going forward, they had
and the worst defense we've had as well, Savva. The worst defense.
Do you know what, though?
So Stel, you're all over the place then. Like 1 minute it's attack, now it's defense. Listen.
No. I'm just trying to say the style of play, not attack. I'm saying the style of play.
I didn't think our play was bad
when you started speaking on the show tonight, you mentioned how there was a meltdown amongst fans after the previous 2 games. Okay. But now today, hey, it's all good now. It's all, we're much happier because there's a ray of light and whatnot. But the point I was making is, if the next game or the game after that is more like the previous 2 games, then fans, from my experience, they go back to this. Oh, what is this I'm watching? It's
what I want to see between this game and the 2 at the weekend.
No. What I want to say is, once I see that consistency in us playing a winning way. Then I'll say, you know what, we're really onto something here. But I get it. It's early doors. It's only 3 games. It's only 3 games. I get it.
Still, I understand that. But what's the difference between? This is the thing. When you take a step back, the difference between Saturday and today. Saturday we had 41 footballers, all mismatched across the games. Today was our strongest 11, give or take, without Maddison or Kulu and Adogi. If you want to, we'll have that argument a bit later. And what you saw was, you could clearly see that they've been working on the training ground, the doubling up. Every time Porro was defending at right back, hang on. Every time Porro was defending at right back, bang, straight out there to help.
Yeah,
every time.
100%.
Every time.
Did you see Porro? Did you see Porro having a go? Did you see Porro having a go at Brennan Johnson for not tracking back?
Right, yeah. I've seen these things in the past where we go, did you see this? I've been here before. All I want to see. Show me during the season, because I'll tell you what the real kind of barometer will be of how we did against Arsenal. On the 22nd of November, we go to the Emirates. Let's see what we do. If we put in a shift there, we look hard to beat. Maybe get a win, maybe nick a draw. Even if we lose, but my God, we gave them a game. Then you could say, you know what, we really are onto something.
You know what? You're like all them fans, right? Who were sitting there today, waiting for Thomas Frank to fuck up, lose the game.
I knew you were going to say that because you can't handle the alternative view, right?
They were all going to...
Okay, I'll come on in and say, guys, brilliant, wonderful. Yes,
they were all ready to pile in.
Hang on.
Balanced. One at a time, guys. One at a time.
Hang on. They were ready to pile in on him today.
No,
they were all
I'm not piling in on him, though.
Hang on. Let me finish. Right?
You are.
Waiting to pile
No, I'm not. You want me to. You want to create this narrative around me.
Can I finish? Can I finish? Everyone, I didn't say you, I said everyone was waiting to pile in.
You said I'm like those fans, Johnny. I said I'm like those fans.
Right, okay.
You did.
You haven't been complimentary. Can we agree on that, on Thomas Frank?
I said we deserved...
Let me finish, please. Right? And Savva, apologies for nipping in there before.
Don't worry, I haven't finished a sentence yet, but
yeah.
you're all right.
What I was going to say to you was, that everyone was ready to pile in and complain, right, about the game today. Thomas Frank hasn't got a clue. Thomas Frank is shit. I told you he's no good. We should have had Ange. And now we win today. It's like, well, it's only a friendly. You're getting ahead of yourself. It weren't that great. I've seen all the comments, right? And, you know, it's not just in here. It's in general. And I think to myself, what do you want? You know, what do fans actually want? We lost 22 games. Yeah, we won the Europa League. It was a magical moment. But if you strip that out, we had pain week in, week out, right? Over and over again. Eat, sleep, repeat. And this is the first time in a long time where I watched the game and I thought, you know what? You know, it felt like an extension of the battling performance against Eintracht Frankfurt and Bilbao defensively, but more structure. It's only just started. And they're just waiting for the fall.
That's what I said. So I said that you're not listening. You're picking what you want to hear.
No, I'm not.
You're picking what you want to hear. I said
you said you want to wait till November.
No, I said I'll judge after 10 games where we're at. Then I'll judge at Christmas. Then at the end of the season, there's 3 markers. I'm not going to judge anything after 3 games. And I'm saying from a balanced view that I think I hold, I'm not getting carried away or really caught up in today's game just because I see better defensive displays, better tactics. I want to see how this pans out when we've got to juggle 2 games a week, when we're in the Champions League, the Premier League, and the domestic cups, when he's got to deal with injuries and not have all his best players. I will judge as the season goes on, is what I'm saying. But if you say that, it means you hate Frank, you think he's terrible, and it's just, let's pile it on. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm far from it. If Frank shows consistency in winning, and he shows today's performance, and he repeats it many, 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 many times, I'll say, do you know what? We're really onto something. I will be the first to jump on.
We're going to lose games. It's a fact. It's football, mate.
Johnny,
I know, but if it's lose 2, win 2, lose 2, win 2, lose 2, then there's a problem, isn't there? There's no consistency.
It would still be better than the bloke you wanted to keep.
Correct.
Listen,
fine, okay, it's better. Yeah. Let's finish 10th. Cool.
I think. Listen,
well,
I think
7 places better than the guy you wanted to keep.
I think
cool. I'm all for it. 10th place. Bring it on.
So when Frank said, when Thomas
I'm agreeing. Let's do it mid-table. Bring it on.
Still, when Thomas Frank says, I win a trophy in my 4th game, nobody believed him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank, the Frank engine. I just, Sean, you've been pretty quiet so far tonight. Let me bring you in, Sean. What staggers me is I feel there's a huge contingent out there that don't quite understand how much work Thomas Frank has had to do and how bad a state we were left in. And I said this ever since. That Europa League final win has covered over everything and made everyone suddenly go, this manager's good, he wins trophies. But Thomas Frank's had to come in, and already in the games I've seen, I don't panic when teams attack us, Sean. I don't panic when a ball goes over the top. I actually look at us and go, yeah, we're organised. Does that make sense for you? Or...
Yeah, no, it does. Well, I just, for the purposes of balance, though, what I would say is we can't have our cake and eat it, right? We can't sit there and say that Ange was the worst manager and the worst coach that this club has ever had. Okay. And then say the same, and it's represented by finish 17th, and that the trophy was a papering over cracks exercise, which, by the way, I agree with that sentiment on. And then at the same time say that Thomas Frank is an organised, disciplined coach, but he has so much work to do to get us away from where we were. I don't think 2 things can be true at the same time on that particular argument. I think that if Thomas Frank is just a well-organised team, is a well-organised manager and gets the decent organisation and discipline out of the team that any normal manager should, and we'll get back to where we were appropriately going to be, which we had this debate last week, somewhere between, depending on who you ask, 7th and 12th, probably, in terms of the squad strength. So I just think it's like, usually 2 things can be true at the same time, but in this particular instance, I don't think that we can sit there and say, Ange was awful, so bad, we finished 17th, and that was a representation of that. But at the same time, for Thomas Frank to get us back to 8th, he's got so much work to do. Because if he has so much work to do, then maybe Ange just did a bad job, but with a terrible squad. I think that the truth is somewhere in the middle. I think that Ange massively underperformed. And if Thomas Frank gets us back to about 9th or 8th this year, I think that's about par for the course. So I'm not going to sit here and make out like he has, he's got all this uphill battle in front of him, because I personally subscribe to the first notion that I just don't think Ange Postecoglou was a very good football coach, very good manager. I think he had one way of playing for the most part until he realised his job was on the line. Then he abdicated all of his own philosophy, his own morals to keep his prediction on point. But on that basis, I think that getting back to par for the course is about 10th this season. So I think anything above 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, anything like that is Thomas Frank putting in a great shift and getting more juice from the squeeze than the squeeze is worth. But I just don't think we can sit there and say both things. For what it's worth, though, I do think that in the first few instances, or at least today, because like Luton, Wickham, I didn't even see Wickham, but Luton and Reading, like there was nothing really on display to get you too excited about. But it was mainly just getting the minutes in the legs. I came away from the Luton game. I drove home. I was really disappointed. I was like, we've got so much work to do. It's not really a sort of a meaningful change. But then in today, like I said, my first answer, when it's against Arsenal, I don't think there's such a thing as a friendly. And I think that both teams, both efforts, both plans, both people, both sets of fans, everything showed that this meant more than just a meaning, like a kick around in Hong Kong. And that's why I'll take a little bit more from it. I think Newcastle United on Sunday will be an interesting one because that kind of sting of the Arsenal thing's a little bit removed. Let's see how we get on against Newcastle. But I'm much happier today, obviously, clearly, than I was expecting to be. But at the same time, I think that Thomas Frank is just getting I think this squad is capable of what we're putting out there right now. I think that Arsenal weren't very good against a well-organised version of Tottenham. But I've said from day one, before Ange even became the manager, I said he's the guy before the guy, not knowing who the next guy was. As soon as Conte left, whoever the next guy is going to be is going to struggle because he's inheriting a club policy of buying youth, and that won't be ready yet. The fruit won't be ripe. The guy after the guy will be in a better position to take what that work looks like and run with it. I think the green shoots are there. Throw in a few more sprinkles of stardust over the next couple of weeks, and I'll be relatively positive going into the season. But I don't sit there and think that this team is as awful and that he's got so much work to turn around. I just think that Ange Postecoglou didn't know how to train these players.
Fair enough. Well, look, before we move on to the second subject, and I will get the super chat in, first and foremost, there's 1,300 of you in here and only 330 likes. That means 1,000 people haven't smashed the like button. 1,000, as my brother would say. There's 1,000 over there. Please smash that like button, people. It really does help. And thank you to everyone who's just subscribed. We have just gone over 24.6K. So nearly 2,000 subscribers in 2 weeks, 200 away from that indeed. So thank you to everybody. Just before we move to the Palhinha subject, so I won't talk about him right now. Really good point made earlier. I'm not sure which one of you made it. Normally I don't think any of you make good points.
Probably me.
It would definitely be you, would it? Someone made the good point earlier about, and we need to have this conversation. Jed Spence. Now, Lubo, I've said to you a number of times, I think Jed Spence is fantastic defensively. Bit of distribution, I think, needs work. He gives the ball away a little bit, which is fine. But in the tackle, marking one-on-one, he's superb. Boys, discuss. Should Jed Spence be a first? Should he play, whether it's at right back or left back? Should this boy being in a starting 11 for Tottenham Hotspur?
I'm playing left back, unquestionably. I think Porro, for me, I think he's improving. I think a lot of people, he's been called out of position with Ange. I think a lot of it wasn't down to him. Ball's been losing people at the back post, particularly in Ange's first season. I think he's improving. I think he looked very good today under Frank. And I think that right back position should be his. As I said before, Spence is strongest on his right foot. The top players like Salah and Saka come in off the left, onto their left foot. And for me, Spence was dispossessing Saka. He had him in his pocket. Saka did nothing today. And so for me, I thought Van de Ven was superb. And I think, if these players can just steer clear of injury, then you're going to get a partnership there. When you've got Romero and Van de Ven, it's always much better than with anybody else. Having said that, Danso again looked very good when he came on. So I think Spence would be part of that back four. without doubts. Where you play Udogie, how you fit him in, I don't know. That's a nice problem for Frank to have. Depending on who plays on the left, personally, that's, you know, could you play Udogie on the left? Could he be an option? Personally, I'd like to see Spurs go out and buy someone like Rafael Leao from AC Milan.
Oh,
can I just very quickly? Sorry, I don't want to be that guy, but I do want to be that guy because Florian Plettenberg has just announced that Tottenham Hotspur are on the verge of signing Palhinha. We'll get there in a minute. I felt I had to announce that to everyone watching.
That would be
24 seconds ago. Here we go. I'm going to show you what he said. And we'll come to it in a minute.
About 4 hours ago.
Hang on. So you can see here that he has just said, we'll come to this in a minute, but I've got to announce it before any other channel does. We're live, right? We live for these moments. Palhinha is on the verge of joining Tottenham Hotspur on loan. Negotiations are very advanced. Only final details remain between Palhinha and Tottenham. An agreement between Bayern and Tottenham is almost complete. Contract with Bayern remains valid until 2028. We'll come to that in a minute, guys, but I had to break that. It kind of makes me feel like I work for Sky Sports.
Can I just say about Jed, right? It's the return of the Jedi, mate. He's absolutely top draw. Knew he was going to be that player. I think Lubo can tell you how pissed off I was that night when we went up to Coventry. Yeah, waiting to see him come on. And Ange, having told him he was going to play, then decided he wasn't going to play. And the only reason he got on was because Destiny had a little knock and he came on as a sub, made the mistake, but then scored the goal to get us back in it. But I will tell you for fact that although he's played better on the left-hand side than he has done on the right-hand side, it's just for him, it's the case of if he played 5 or 6 games back on that right-hand side, he would be equally as good on that right-hand side as he is on that left-hand side. But it's familiarity. I mean, that isn't a guess, by the way. That is something that's factual.
Johnny, do you think that for us he's better on the left because our shortfall is more on the left than the right?
No. Listen, right. Look, as he reminds me a bit of Wan-Bissaka defensively in the sense of it's very difficult to get past him. I mean, he absolutely owned Saka today. You can talk about his injury and all the rest of it. We've seen it many, many times. The only time that I've seen Jed look really poor was when Ange turned around and said, Destiny will be back soon. And when he does, he'll be getting back in the team. That is the reward for being outstanding in Destiny's absence. Look, all I'm saying is he's been fantastic. I think his output on that left-hand side will improve once, they work out partnerships, which is and relationships, which is a big thing with Thomas Frank. But what I'm saying is he is equally good on that right-hand side. But let's be honest, how could you possibly drop Pedro Porro right now? Because Pedro Porro has just gone on and on and on and is improving month after month, season after season, to become a proper player now. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, Sean and Stel, I'm very keen on the Palhinha thing. It's breaking news, but you two, what would you do? Spence versus Udogie? Who you picking?
Go on, Stel.
Jed Spence. I remember watching him a few years ago when he was in the Cup for Forest playing against Arsenal, and he had an absolutely cracking game. And it reminded me of when I saw Dele Alli playing for MK Dons in the Cup. Both very similar, playing for a low league team, shining in a cup game on national TV. Both are street ballers. They both got attitude. They're both rough around the edges. And I like that in a football player. I actually like a football player that's got some street about them because they bring that to the pitch and they don't take any shit on the pitch, which is what I like, especially in the Premier League. but they need to be guided, they need to be coached, and they need to be polished so that they don't go off the rails and they don't end up, you know, the wrong crowd and getting into trouble. And so far, from what I understand, Jed Spence, he's kept it clean. He's not got into mischief. There were rumours he's got an attitude issue, but listen, I don't mind that. I want players with attitude. I want players that are going to say, you know what, I'm not taking it. You ain't going to get past me. I'm not going to let you just get what you want in a one-on-one battle. So I'm glad Jed Spence is now beginning to come through. I hope it carries on. I don't think Udogi's a crap player. I actually think he's a good player. I think he's been very unlucky with injuries. I also think that he specifically played as an attacking fullback, and that was completely taken out of his game under Ange. So I think had he joined us when Conte was here, he would have been a much better player by now. So I think Udogi's lost a couple of years in his progression, and Jed Spence has stepped in and progressed. So I think Jed Spence has gone ahead of him, but I haven't written off Udogi. I actually hope Frank creates healthy competition between them two, and they battle it out and they improve each other. Because one thing I've always not been happy with at Spurs is not having two players in each position that can actually challenge each other. If we can have that in that position, listen, don't write off Udogi just yet, but yeah, Jed Spence, I'd pick him at the moment.
For me, I think it's a horses for courses thing. I think in games when you want to play a back three, where a back four, but when you have the ball, you move into a three at the back and you let the left side go up. I think, you know, but against bottom half table teams at home, against most teams at home, I think Destiny Udogi gets the nod. I think he's better going forward. I think defensively is not even a contest, and against all of the big five that we're playing against, or four of the big five, I think Destiny Udogi is not the right choice. I think Jedley King is the guy because he can pocket. He absolutely can pocket.
Can we stop saying that?
One of the best.
Why not? That's it is.
He absolutely can. He pockets the right back, and in most of the big teams, the right back and the right winger and the left winger are one of them, if not both of them, are terrifying. Jed Spence for me is the best of all three of the fullbacks defensively that we have. And so I just think you don't need him in every game. Just like you might not need the guy we're going to talk about in 2 seconds if it's about to happen. You might not need that guy in every game, but in certain specific games, there's a need for a certain type of player, specificity over versatility. I think in games when you can sort of let the reins loose a little bit and go and need that an extra or additional attacking option, I think Udogi gets the nod for me. I think he's just a little bit better with the ball at his feet, and I think he creates a bit more of a threat in a world where our left winger isn't necessarily someone that's going to take players on and will be more likely to cut in. I think you need that overlap of Destiny Udogi. But like I say, in the big games, Champions League away from home, I think you play Jed Spence over Destiny Udogi for sure.
But isn't it nice that you look at the defence and the options we've got? I mean, the defence is our strongest part of the team, isn't it? I think by a mile. Which hopefully will be that gap will be reduced significantly if Palhinha does sign. But we've got options there along the back. I thought Danso was very good today as well.
He's always so reliable, isn't he, Danso?
Isn't he just? So we're strong there. If we can get that sort of strength in midfield and at the front, we'll have a very competitive side.
Do you know one thing that stands out defensively, and I think we've all been saying it. We actually clear the ball and don't always try to play it out of trouble.
Yes.
And it's just nice to see us clear the fucking ball.
Yeah. Well, look, let me do some super chats. By the way, while we're waiting for the super chats, there are so many comments. So sorry if I can't get to everyone's comments. I've seen a few that have said, "Oh, you never bring my comment up," and it's like there's 1,400 in here, guys. There's a lot for me to kind of monitor. While I'm reading these super chats out, before we talk about Palhinha, just let us know in the chat right now. All I want to know is, push comes to shove, Spence Udogi. Just one of those words. Who are you picking? You've only got one. I don't want Spence or Udogi. Big up. Let me go through these. Alan Shug Knight. Big up to you. I said, Mr. Flip Flop in the corner. Come on, Alan. Let's not start like that. Am I going to read this out? Okay, he's not been too rude. Hasn't got nothing nice to bash Frank about today. Love to see it.
They're paying money to the channel. I welcome it. Keep it coming.
Cool. There you go. Mr. Flip Flop in the corner, upset. He hasn't got nothing to bash Frank about today. Love to see it. Alan, be nice. Only we can call Stella Flip Flop. All right, only we can.
You hate the truth, Alan. It's okay. You hate the truth. I get it.
Really appreciate that. Gerald has said 5 for the famous 5. Thank you very much, Gerald. Your generosity is very much appreciated, and we do appreciate you all. Thank you very much, Gerald. Alan Shug Knight's come back in again and said, we beat our rivals, and he moans about the ball. Stel, it looks like you've got a fan.
Can I just say, I wasn't moaning about the pitch. I was pointing out that I can't believe both teams played on a pitch of that level, like 2 top-level Premier League clubs playing on a Sunday League pitch. I couldn't believe it.
Sound like it's for the Gooners, mate. Observation, mate. Too many bobbles.
Big up, big up, Alan. Thank you very much. Chop Cheese. Big up to you, my friend. Said, Johnny, you're the man. Love the Spurs shirts. True fan. I love this. Johnny's a true fan. We're all just pretending. Big up, Johnny. Thanks for carrying the channel, mate. You are the true Spurs fan amongst the 5. Big up to you. Thank you very much, Chop Cheese. Martin Knightsbridge, out there in Spain. Big up to you, my man. Said, good to see a structure and start of a system. Amen. Amen. And we're going to talk about how we're going to add to that in 1 second. Big up to you, Martin. Really appreciate that. Big up to, I know Sean liked this name last week, Ho Jack Borsman has said, my advice to every Spurs fan, have patience, enjoy the victory, but contain your excitement. Reserve your critique till the 1st of March. Don't have to explain. The 1st of March?
It's a very specific date. What's happening on the 1st of March?
What do we do in April?
What
Beware the 1st of March. Beware. Hold on. That's really a season. Beware the 1st of March.
What?
Who are we playing? We must be playing someone on the 1st.
Yeah, Jack. So no one can be excited or upset between now and March.
Yeah. If we lose to Chelsea on February 27th, no.
I like this guy. I like this Hojak.
I like Hojak. He's funny. Big up to you, Hojak.
Or Hojak? Did it say Kojak?
Hojak. Big up to you, Hojak. Thank you very much. Big up to George. One of my mods, I've also modded you on this channel as well, George. I trust you implicitly. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Really appreciate you. Choo-choo. Big up to you, George. Thank you very much. And in true Blaine Dev style, he's not only put in a super chat, which I will read first, that says, oh, Morgan Gibbs-White, the rumours were shite. We might get Palhinha. Frankie's future is bright. Big up the famous 5. Big up to you, Blaine. You are so generous, and not just for this, Blaine. And this was about 12 minutes ago, so I don't know who these went to, but he's gifted 10 Spurs memberships. 10, and that's a lot of money. So thank you.
Yes, thank him. If you're the recipient,
thank you.
Yeah, if you're the recipient.
I want a night out with you because I feel like you would pay for the whole night. So I feel like we should all have a night out. You seem really rich. I love it. Thank you, Blaine. We really appreciate you.
I want a night out with you just because you're an absolute legend. Nothing to do with who's paying for what.
Yeah, nothing to do. Can I just say, Savva, if anyone's recipient of those 10 memberships, please drop a note to Blaine to thank him, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. And just one last one that crept in there. Matt C. I said, if we get Kolo Muani, I'll ask my barber for the Lubo trim. Is this going to be a thing? Can I have a Lubo, please?
I don't know. I've got to say hello to Bambos because I'm sure he's watching. Enjoyed the show last week.
Sorry, who is Bambos?
Bambos is it gives me my trim.
Last week.
Sorry. Why do you
need... Jeff? It was last week. It was Jeff.
Jeff.
Why do you need a guy that gives you that?
Where's Jeff?
Sorry.
Like I have a guy that does my beard and cut. Like why do you need a guy to? What's going on?
Everyone needs a guy. Everyone, Savva, you've got a thumbnail guy. You've got a beard guy. I
want to know. Lubo, have you dropped Jeff? Where is Jeff?
Yeah, where's Jeff?
I'm sure Jeff's watching. He did laugh when he heard you saying hello. He thought it was quite funny.
Anyway, back to the super chats.
You guys.
Back to the super chats. If we get Kolo Muani, I'll ask for the Lubo trim. Big up. We'll talk about Kolo Muani in a bit. We've seen some links. I've got a feeling he's off to Juventus though, but we'll see. We'll see. Big up to you, Matt. Very generous. Richest man has just dropped in with a super sticker. Very generous of you. Thank you, Rich. I've got a members only show tomorrow, Rich, so I'm sure you'll be there. Big up to you, my man. And Joshua Barmetla, I love that name. Big up to you for the super sticker as well. And Steve T has just dropped one in and said, great start to the Frank Engines reign. Just say it quietly because Stel will get upset. So just say it quietly, but it's quite good so far. It's all right. We haven't lost yet. Big up to you and big up to Mark, who didn't want to say Spence in the chat. So he said it in a super chat. Big up to you. Thank you very much. And the last one, this has got to be the last one until the next section. Hojack Borsman's come back and said, post-winter break, come the drop in intensity and form, loss of focus, injuries, and infamously the sketchy winter market operation by the board. Okay. Hojack, let us get excited this side of the year, and then we'll have a meltdown that side of the year. Yeah?
I know he's talking about. Someone put something out. I saw it last week about if you add up all the last 20 odd years or something, there's a specific date where on average it all goes tits up. And I think that's what he meant by the 1st of March, typically, historically at Spurs. So that's what he was getting at.
Listen, thanks guys. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate all of you.
The like button,
thank you very much. Let's have a look, guys. We're going to talk about this guy now. We're going to talk about Palhinha on loan. And let's just remind everyone what we've just had from, let's be fair, when Plettenberg goes in at this stage, it's done. Well, Morgan Gibbs White, Savva, learn your lesson. But when Plettenberg or Ornstein go in at this sort of stage, you know it's going to get done. Yao Palhinha on the verge of joining Tottenham on loan. Negotiations advanced. Only final details remain, blah, 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 blah. Contract with Bayern remains until 2028. Nice and simple, guys. A nice and simple question here, right? Palhinha, 1 year loan. We don't know if there's an obligation or an option to buy yet. Happy with that? Is that good business for a club that doesn't have a lot of money, apparently?
Best business you could do, mate. Best business you could do. Sean and I discussed this on the channel that shan't be mentioned. I got into trouble for mentioning it too many times last time. But we have said that the best...
Heritage.
No, yeah. Nearly football heritage. We discussed the fact that the best deal for club and player would be a 1 year loan. No option, no nothing. We thought the 1 year loan was best. We don't know. He came off not the best season last season. We don't know really what we're getting. We know that he's a destroyer. We know he's great, as Sean and I discussed today, at the short passes. He's not best at those spraying the ball or sort of a defence splitting pass. But if you put him next to an Eze or a quality player like a Maddison, give the ball, win the ball back, give it. Absolutely top drawer. And let's be honest, right? We need strength in depth. Strength in depth is the most important thing. And when we're playing in the Champions League on a Wednesday, playing Inter Milan or whoever we're playing, and then on the Saturday, we're playing Liverpool, you know, we cannot be playing the same players week in and week out. So to have that depth and to do it on the cheap, because I think it is cheap, we'll be paying his wages. But this is a guy that costs 57 million euros from Fulham to Bayern Munich. And I think it's a great deal for both clubs and the player.
Yeah,
Sean,
Sam,
let me come to you.
Mate. Do you remember, mate, it must have been 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, you and I were on your channel, right? And we were talking about, rather than getting Matisse Tell, how do we work off the Harry Kane money?
Yeah.
And I think we both brought up Palhinha as the best option to go and sort of raid Bayern Munich in terms of a value for money perspective. I think it's just the brilliant move. I think it's not, as I said in the last answer, I don't think he's necessary in every game. I think in certain games when you just want a double pivot that can both win the ball back, but you don't have a monster 10 that you've got to concern yourself with, you can absolutely just need to play every minute. And look, there's a risk, obviously, he has fallen off his 30 and stuff. First of all, I'm super happy because I'm pretty sure that he would come in as the new club's highest earner, which means that when I said all year that Tottenham are going to have a new club's highest earner and or a new transfer record, then I've at least ticked that box. So I'm not in the mud anymore. I believe that's technically true. But I just think that the guy, he just wins the ball. He sits there lets everyone breathe around him, wins the ball, gives it back. He's not going to make any kind of line-breaking runs. The through passes into the kind of penalty area, that sort of thing isn't what he's there to do. But he just wins it and gives it, wins it and gives it. And if you can park someone next to him, like a Bentancur, let's be honest, I think that most people in the tail end of last season were sitting there watching Bentancur away in Frankfurt and then doing the shift that he put in and saying, he's the 6. He's a brilliant 6. He isn't the brilliant. Bentancur's not a 6. Basuma's not focused enough. He has the bozo gene in him, and it just isn't there anymore for me. He can do it when he wants to, but he's just not quite there. But in a monster 6 that I've been asking for like 3 years, since like a couple of months into the Conte regime, I was like, this team needs a 6. We finally got a guy. I really, really hope that he can bring back to his Fulham best, because if he can, then it allows other people to just spread their wings. The problem with Bentancur playing in that 6 is not what he can do with the ball. It's his rest defence. He doesn't track the player, doesn't track the danger man. And when you have players that are further advanced who give the ball over in transition, and then we get sprung on, having someone who's got that DNA of an 8 that's sitting in the 6, they lose their marker and it creates mayhem. And it's not always caught on camera. If you're going to the game and you're watching on the peripheral, you'll see it. You don't always see it on the camera. And that's why people can get confused and think that that Bentancur was fantastic as a 6 like the tail end of last season. He wasn't. He was an 8. The DNA of an 8 is to sniff out the opportunity. The DNA of a 6, in my opinion, is to sniff out the threat. And in Palhinha, I think we have one of the best in the game. Yes, question marks around what's the last year and a half done to his is he still at that level? We'll find out. But if he can get back to anything like the Fulham level of the player, I think that is the most key ingredient that Tottenham could have got. It's a far more important signing than Morgan Gibbs-White was ever going to be, in my opinion. And now that we've got that done, you can go and get yourself, hopefully Sonny's, we'll talk about that in a minute, but just the Palhinha thing for me, just tick, tick, bloody tick. It's a wonderful day to be a Tottenham fan now.
It's not done yet, Sean. Let's wait. It's not done just yet.
It's not, mate. It's going on for weeks. I got told it was done. I got told it was done much earlier this afternoon. Did I not, Sean?
Yeah.
So let's see.
Tottenham. Until you
Stel, maybe I've spoken too soon.
Stel,
assuming it's done, it's a great trade.
Stel, let me come to you. Look, assuming it gets done, listen, I'm not going to learn my lesson. Assuming it is done, in his 2 years at Fulham, he had the most tackles, the most ball recoveries, the most duels won. His passing was actually good, like short range passing, which I think Sean was referring to, winning and giving, was very good. Yeah. But we're not going to see progressive ball carrying. And this is why I brought this up, Stel. Like, this is last season, not his season at Fulham, but you can see that he's very good at everything defensively, but then when offensively is poor. So how important is this for Tottenham Hotspur, considering we don't have a DM at the club?
Believe it or not, I actually played as a 6. That was my favourite position. And
here we go.
I actually enjoyed coaching. Believe it or not, I actually enjoyed coaching a 6 more than anyone else because I played it so often. And for me, there's different types of 6s in the modern game. What you're going to get from Palhinha, as that graph showed, his interceptions are very low. He's not someone that reads the game really well. So he's not someone that can watch the flow of the game and say, right, if I just shift here, I'm anticipating the pass coming there, I can intercept the play. He's not someone that reads the game like a Teddy Sheringham, who was fantastic at reading the direction of flow of a game. What he does, though, is he's an enforcer. When he marks his man, he says he will read you and he will get you. Whether it's a tackle, an aerial duel, a block, he's yours. You ain't winning. And we call that 1v1 domination. When it comes to 1v1 domination, this isn't about OnlyFans or any kind of adult TV, right? But in football, 1v1 domination.
Whatever you're into, mate. We're not here to judge.
Yeah, we get a different type of audience on this channel, But 1v1 domination is where you either beat your man or you stop your man getting past you. And in a defensive role, he's very, very good at that. So he doesn't need to read the game as long as he marks his man and wins that duel, which he's got a very, very high success rate. Once you've won the ball, what you then want a 6 to do is to quickly begin the transition. So from defending, you've won the ball. Now we're in the attacking phase because we've got possession. And the fact his passing stats are so high, in the 90s for attempted passes, even higher for completed passes means that after he's won the ball, he then begins a transition and allows the other midfielders around him or the wide players to take the ball and begin the attack. That is what we've been lacking. The last player that I think at Spurs that did that was Wanyama, and before him, maybe Scotty Parker. But Palhinha, you're talking about a player that wins that ball and then gets the transition going. Listen, I don't think our Spurs are going to find a better player who's established and who's Premier League proven. So for me, this is a massive thumbs up. And I agree with Sean. This will probably be our biggest signing of the summer. And I don't see any Spurs fan frowning, on this and saying, I don't know, he's too old.
There's a few still.
There's a few, 100%.
My comments are riddled with people that don't rate him anymore. They say that he's fell off. I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's why loan's the perfect deal, right? It's a no-lose situation. These are the same people who probably cheered Timo Werner being signed for the second time. This is an absolute no-brainer on a guy who was sold for £57 million to Bayern Munich that was levels above what we had as a six, which was zero. We didn't have one. So this is a massive upgrade, and every Spurs fan should be excited about this signing.
Another factor that the loan deal is good and it makes sense is because we don't know at his age where his physical, where he's at physically as a player in terms of being injury prone, keeping up with pace of the game. So 1 year loan allows us to test the waters as well with him on a physical level. So I think a loan is actually better than signing him.
100%.
Absolutely.
I mean,
it leaves a lot more, leaves more money to buy other players in other positions. I think, as you said, Sav, his stats were superb. He didn't have much football last year, so they haven't run him into the grounds like Kula was by Ange. I think it'll be great for young kids like Gray to get an education from him.
Here we go.
That's why he's on loan, though, guys.
Here we go. Squeezing Gray. Not Saul, not Bergval.
No.
Bang on.
You just can't help yourself, can you, Lee? But you just can't help.
It's an apprenticeship for Gray.
If you remember, Johnny, if you remember, we were on a space last summer, and everyone was asked, what three players would you bring in if you had a choice? Which three players would you bring in that would be game changing for Tottenham? And Palhinha was one. Palhinha was one of my three, along with Eze and Isak.
Yeah, Palhinha's been a long-term target. I think the thing that Lubo's getting at, and I don't disagree. If you're going to learn from anybody, you learn from the fact that Palhinha has experienced. What we're missing is experience. We've all said it. No experience, not enough experience in this team. We're going to have a team of grafters, battlers, and nasty bastards because that's what you need. But if for Gray to learn under his tutelage, and to learn how to correct the mistakes he's making, if he wants to be that six, work under him. That's what I think will happen.
Do you think there's any super quick, Sav? Oh, sorry, mate. Do you think that there's any notion here? I think Lubo raises an interesting point about whether or not the apprentice is Archie Gray. In a world where it isn't, I still think it makes so much sense here for the reasons we've outlined. I mean, I also think that just in a world where there's this money that's coming into the club, maybe it is done, maybe it isn't done, maybe some of it's coming in next summer, for example. This is a way where you can try before you buy, but it might not even necessarily be a buy, because I'm wondering why it is that there's no option, or certainly no. I'm glad that there's no obligation included, but usually a loan has an option for someone of that age. To think that it's just 1 year and then you're going back is a little bit odd. And I'm just wondering if that is something that's been pushed by the player. He doesn't want to come on a permanent, by Bayern Munich, who don't want to lose him on a permanent, which I can't imagine, or by Tottenham, who have ambitions, maybe to hopefully get the best out of Palhinha for a year. But then at the same time, Daniel Levy doesn't want to sign a 30-year-old guy on a 3-year deal. But ultimately, by next summer, we could have spent the next 12 months doing the sort of thing that possibly Liverpool are known for doing, which is succession planning, right? Which is thinking 2 years in advance. Who is it that we're going to want? where's the contract expiration? If they were looking at Mark Gahey, for example, whether Tottenham might be looking at someone like Hugo Larsson or someone like a Hulmand or someone like that and saying, well, they're not available right now, but in 12 months' time they will be. So let's get someone in right now. But over the next 12 months, we'll warm up the agent, we'll warm up the player to hopefully come in and take on that Monster Six on a permanent level. But someone that's 22, 23 years old.
Can I just? There's a lot of chat in the comment section about how much he's going to earn, right? Let me tell you how much he's going to earn. I've just gone and done it all.
Oh, who cares?
Hang on. Let me at least get 6 words into my sentence. I was going to say, first and foremost, why does everyone care in the chat? Why do any of you care? Like, look, Sean talking rubbish. Now, before you answer this, Sean, I'm going to put this guy in his place. Regarding top earner, by God, if he is. Soul Sniper Gaming, what do you care if he is? What do you care if Tottenham pay his wages from Bayern Munich? By the way, as it stands, he would be our 3rd highest paid player behind Son and James Maddison, and he would be level with Christian Romero. However, if Sonny leaves the club, he will be our joint 2nd highest earner with Christian Romero. Guys, I couldn't give a flying monkeys how much money. We just put this in perspective. He's taking over from Werner. Werner was just on the exact same amount. This guy's going to come in and be our number 1 DM. Why do fans care? What are we doing here?
Doesn't give a shit. Who gives a shit? It's a no-brainer. Look, Levy was never going to award. Sean and I have spoken about this numerous times on the show, right? There was no way that Daniel Levy is going to pay 30 million pound or 35 million pound and offer a 3-year contract to Palhinha. It was never going to happen. The only way this happened is on a loan. And exactly what Sean says, this is succession planning. You take him for a year and you wait and you do the research so that next year you know who your number 6 target is, rather than having no number 6, not going out and spending 30 million pound, and you use that money to target the player that's needed. And what's needed? What's needed is a player, after he's won the ball, he hands the ball over to, and that player carries the ball and delivers. Whether that's your Arden Deshwari or it's your Eze, that's the player that we need to couple against with Palhinha. And let's be serious, right? Palhinha ain't going to be playing every game, okay? Maybe he'll only play the Champions League games and he won't play the Premier League games. We don't know, but he'll definitely be rotated. We need strength in depth, guys. That's something Spurs don't have.
Guys, I don't understand.
There is a buy option included, by the way. So there is just quickly, Fabrizio's tweeted there is a buy option.
Yeah, if we want it, we won't trigger it.
I don't understand this. He's Premier League proven. He's played for an elite European club. He can play as a 6 because he is a 6, and he's quite good at it. What more do we want as Spurs fans? I've always said we're not going to get Kevin De Bruyne's, we're not going to get Haaland's, we're not going to get these elite players, but that level below, and I've mentioned players like Mitoma and Mbuemo's, Palhinha for me is in that category. That's the caliber of player we're going to sign, and he's better than any 6 we've got in the club right now. It improves us. I don't understand how this is even a debate with any fans.
Well, there you go. This is what
I'm lost. I'm lost with it.
This is what Fabrizio Romano's just said. He said Tottenham have agreed personal terms with Palhinha and are in advanced talk to Bayern. Initial loan for Palhinha, and understand the agreement will also include a buy option clause, not mandatory. Spurs will cover his salary, deal at final stages. So Spurs are going to pay 165 grand a week for a year, which essentially is Werner out, this guy in. I know which one I'd rather.
5 grand change. 5 grand a week change.
And we've got the option to buy, which I think is great. I think that's brilliant. If he smashes it out the park this season, then great. If he doesn't, he goes back and it gives us a year to find someone.
Win-win.
What it also allows us to do, it also allows us time to allocate funds somewhere else this summer. It allows us, because apparently there's still 60 million sitting there from the Morgan Gibbs White money. So it allows us to prioritize, which we'll talk about this in a minute in more detail. But I don't see a downside to this deal, guys.
No,
and I'm honestly
the only downside about it, Sav, the only thing down about it is that those people in these two corners here and here have to probably get out their sort of moonwalk and walk back the fact that Daniel Levy needs to get out of the club. Because Lubo, today, who is in charge of Tottenham today? Is it Vinay or is it Daniel Levy? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, who did this deal, Lubo?
Who did this deal? Well, obviously Vinay with Lang. Obviously, what's the point of no-brainer, answer to that question?
One signing, Sean, doesn't change the dynamics of League.
Listen, I'll take what I can get this week, mate. I'll take what I can get.
He's got a lot more to do than if he signs 5 Palhinhas, then we'll have a chat.
Fucking hell, Mr. Magnolia. I was surprised he could send me to sleep just looking at him. Joanne Lang, Mr. Magnolia. Listen, the one that excites me is the one you haven't brought up yet, but I've been banging on about him for weeks on end. And if we somehow manage to pull this off, which I very much doubt, then I would give this window a massive, massive thumbs up, and that's Kolo Muani. But I don't know.
We're going to come to Muani in the next section with sell to buy. No. I'm staggered, guys, by the number of people I'm seeing in the chat that everyone thinks they know when a player's burnt out. Like everyone's going, he's washed, he's burnt out. How do people that don't watch these players train or live with them or know their diet? How do all these fans know this? It always baffles me. How do we know this?
He's still better than what we've got. Even if he's burnt out, he's still better than what we've got.
He's competing at Bayern Munich with Josh Kimmich, who just signed a 6-year extension to his contract that's been there for a long time. Like there's levels to the game. Like Palhinha he's a monster. He's a proven monster. We've all been asking for a monster 6 for a long, long time. And I think given the environment, given the circumstances where the club's at, given what we're on the back of, I agree with Stel. I think we all said it, but I think Stel put it brilliantly when he said there isn't a better signing for the environment that we're in right now than Palhinha for what we need. I think it makes the most sense. Let's just hope he comes in, stays fit, and kicks the goals because, or not the goals, but kicks the granny out of it. Because if he does, we're an incredibly different outfit with a player like him at his best at the anchoring role in our midfield.
What I'd like to know is people that have got reservations about Palhinha. Who do they want then that we can get? Or who do they think the current squad is best suited to that 6 role? I want to know what the alternative is. What's the alternative solution?
And are they going to join the club as well?
Well, this is it. What's the realistic alternative? Is it Basuma?
Yeah.
Is it
I want Rodri. I want Rodri. That's all I want. Anything but Rodri is not good enough. Dream on. Dream on.
It's a nice dream to have.
Yeah, I
dream of days gone by.
Listen, I'll bring that section to a close on Palhinha. I think on the panel everyone's agreed. So I think we're all agreed that this is a good bit of business for Spurs. A loan deal, 12 months, purely covering the wages. I think which works out. I'm not an expert. 7.5 million a year, 8 million a year, something like that. So I don't know.
165 is about 8.25, I think, something like that.
He's always so specific. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So
get your calculator out, Lubo. Figure it out in pounds.
I think that works.
165 times 52.
And 165 euros. Make it into pounds, please. Come on, do it the right way.
So is it in? Sorry, hold on.
No, 165 is pounds. He's on 196.
How many denaries is that, please?
That's pounds. Sorry, 8
denaries.
8.58.
Okay, so 8.5 million to bring him in, and let's see what he does. Look, I think it's great. One thing I did, I kind of want to talk about this. I'm not sure if he falls into the next category or maybe a bonus category. We all assume that it'll be Gray that learns off him. What my point is, with this guy coming in, where do some of these players get games? I'm not saying it's a bad problem. I don't know where some of them get games, but I want to move to the next section. We need to do some super chats. We'll bring that later. And we're going to be talking next about selling to buy. I'm sure you've all seen
Hang on a minute. This
Morgan.
is Tottenham Hotspur. We don't sell players.
Johnny, I don't think I've completed one sentence tonight without you jumping in the middle of it. It's really difficult hosting.
Johnny's out of control, mate. He's out of control. He's out of control.
Let me get the super chat started, honestly. Big up to Blaine, who said, I ain't no millionaire, lads. Just giving my match ticket costs to those who deserve it more than Enoch. No, Enoch have just signed you, Palhinha. You better be grateful down there, Blaine Dev. You best be grateful, along with Stel and Lubo and Johnny. Everyone better be grateful. Sean's chairman has come through for us. Big up to you, Blaine. John B. Brooklyn. Thank you very much for the super sticker, John. Really appreciate it. That's very generous, my man. Big up to Andy Lester. Thank you very much. I said big up McSavva and the Spurs 5. Keep the monopoly. For anyone that doesn't know, I had a McDonald's while streaming live earlier, and then Perchy made a very horrible picture of me via AI that I'm sure is going to go viral, and now I'm known as McSavva. Thank you very much, Andy, for sharing. Really appreciate that. Tottenham Trevs Talk Football says, congratulations, Frank and Spurs. We beat the enemy. Yep, not beating them for a long time, so really nice to get a win over them. Big up to you. Big up to Slip and Coy. Slip and Coy, I like that. Palhinha is great business. Now we need more. Push on. We're about to talk about it. We're about to talk about it, my man. Thank you very much. Saga, thank you very much. I said invest in Kuda stock. Only real threat on offense. We're going to talk about that. I think we all acknowledge that we need a couple more bodies up front. I think we're very, very lightweight in those forward areas. We'll talk about it. Thank you very much. Big up Blaine again. Said Lubo's favourite book, 50 Shades of Archie Gray. Yes.
And I've got the T-shirt. Oh,
great. Big up to you, Blaine. Really appreciate that. And Spurs GCTV. It's a sensible signing. No brainer. End of discussion. Completely agree with you. But imagine if I'd started that segment by saying that. We wouldn't have had that segment. Big up to you. Thank you very much. Guys, Johnny, I'm going to start with you. Why have I forgotten his name? Quickly, who was it this morning? Matt Law. Matt Law wrote an article this morning, Johnny. Some of it was very, very good. A really good insight into how bad Spurs have been at selling players. In 6 years since we moved into the stadium, we've sold, I think it was £296 million worth of players. Only 13 of those were 10 million plus. And a third of that 296 was all on Harry Kane, basically saying we have to sell to buy, and we're struggling to sell. Is this right, Johnny? Are we struggling to sell? Do we have to sell to buy?
Matt Law, bitter and twisted Chelsea fan. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, he was on last word on Spurs. And I said, I wasn't buying any of it, be honest with you. Do we need to sell? Yeah, I mean, listen, we've got too many players. So you could technically say, yeah, we need to sell. We got too many players, but I don't believe we need to sell financially to be able to bring a player in. I think that's absolute crock of crap because I believe that there's money coming in, but it doesn't take a genius to see we're overloaded with subpar players. Most of us know which of those players are. Thomas Frank would have assessed them over the last few weeks, and he'll be assessing them further on the tour. And as they say, one man's meat is another man's poison. So we might be surprised at some that he keeps, and we might be surprised at some that he may sell. But I think the position we are in now is so much better than how we've been historically. When you look at the players that we bought, 12 million Papasar, 15 million Destiny Udogie, 17 million Bentancur, 35 million Kulu, 17 million Vicario, 40 odd million Porro, 45 million Romero. And I think if you look at those type of players, that they have, on the whole, more value than what we bought them for. But historically, what we've been doing is buying players that drop in value, just like the Hitchin days, where we spend hundreds of millions of pounds and we got absolutely nothing back for it. Should we need to sell one of these players, they all have decent value. Even the ones that we look at and we think we're not very good or they're not great, we're still going to get money. We're still going to get money for your Alfie Dorringtons. I mean, we even got like 6-7 million plus bonuses for someone like Carter Vickers. But these players are on a much higher level than that. And I believe that Spurs will be fine from this moment on. But how do you force a player out? We've seen with Manchester United, when a player doesn't want to go, he doesn't leave. And when a player wants to go, he throws his toys out of the pram. It's difficult to manage these situations. I would say the biggest cock block probably in the team right now, if you're looking at it, is probably Basuma, because he's on 1 year. And we don't want to allow him to go for nothing. So you either force him out or you get him to sign an extension of his contract, and then you sell him, say, next summer.
Yeah, good point. I mean, Sean, selling to buy. Is Matt Law bitter or is he right? We've been really bad at it, haven't we? We haven't sold.
We have historically.
Yeah, he's not right on that side, but he's been wrong all year. He's been wrong all year, that donut. I can't stand him. He said that Tottenham are financially, we're broke, we're illiquid, we've got no money. He was saying sell to buy initially in terms of with Tottenham have got no money.
Correct.
I said at the start in January when he first coming out, there's no truth to that. It's a load of waffle. And he doubled down. He doubled down recently. And now that they're sort of the news is out there, or at least sort of percolating that Tottenham have got some investment. Now he's spinning the narrative that it's a sell to buy on a squad roster perspective. And look, to a degree, he's right about that side. Look, you know, you only have so many positions in the squad that you can fill up with non-homegrown. And certainly there's cop blocks, as Johnny was saying. But I take everything that Matt Law says with a pinch of salt, because like everybody in the footballing space, I think that they have some people, a lot of people, most people have some sort of agenda, some sort of bias that is front running their opinions. You know, I say this to Lubo all the time when every day he sends me 700 different tweets from people that he follows that push the Levy out narrative. And I beg him to stop. But still they come, still they find me. But, you know, like, I just think that Matt Law has an agenda. He has an agenda to be right. And he seems to want to come after Tottenham all the time in a negative lens. So I've got no time for the geezer. I think he's been wrong all year under the same pretense of his overarching narrative. He's just now moving the goalposts as the money story doesn't really add up anymore. And so now he's pushing it into a squad roster thing. And yeah, he's absolutely right about Tottenham's continued issues in selling players. But every article that he puts out has Daniel Levy on the front of the front picture when it's a negative spin. Whereas, you know, if
are you talking about Lubo and Stel or Matt Law?
Matt Law, Matt Law specifically in this particular instance.
Okay, right. Yeah.
He always puts out Daniel Levy on the front banner of every single article he puts out, especially if it's coming at it from a negative stance, a negative angle. And look, you know, if other clubs had, like, how many other chairmen do we hear about? Do we hear about Manchester City's chairman all the time? We don't. Do we hear about? I mean, Nottingham Forest chairman's come into the limelight a little bit recently just because of the Morgan Gibbs White saga. We don't hear about PIF when it comes to Newcastle United reaching for the stars and landing on nothing. We don't hear about other chairmen, but certain journalists just want to come after certain narratives because it's good for the clicks, it's good for the business, and where they can, they'll spin it into ways that continue to allow them to be right on some sort of semantic. And in the case of Matt Law, the agenda has to agenda. I get it, but yeah, I've got no time or respect for the guy.
Lubo, let me ask you. Look, we've got. He's saying that we couldn't bring in another midfielder because we didn't have the money. But does this make sense in the fact that we were ready 2 weeks ago to drop £60 million on Morgan Gibbs White? So where is that money if that's the case? And why do we have to sell to buy now, but we didn't have to 2 weeks ago for Morgan Gibbs White?
Well, it doesn't make sense, does it? I mean, you know, Spurs offered 70, end of January for Gahey as well. Yeah, so if you believe that, although obviously it was a Mickey take of an offer to give it to Palace 3 days before the end of the window. I believe
Why?
Sorry?
Why was £70 million for a player with 18 months left in his contract? Why was that a Mickey take of an offer?
Because Palace had no time to replace him and to come in.
There's always deadline day business.
Coming right to the death. It's coming right to the death, Sean. It's not serious. Palace,
deadline day is the busiest day in January.
No, hang on. Sean, Parish is not going to lose his captain and not be able to replace him. Come on.
For £70 million with 18 months left, and now he's forced to either make a decision to lose him for free or accept £40 million to Liverpool. He was a bozo in that scenario.
Well, maybe not. But at the end of the day, Palace won their first trophy in their entire history in 119 years. So I suppose
not because of Mark Gahey though, because of the entire team, right?
Because of the entire team, but Gahey obviously was a big influence. Yeah. So at the end of the day, the fans are happy with Parish, and they got a trophy under their belt. It was a history-making day for Palace. And what's football all about? It's about memories and moments. And for those Palace fans, that win at Wembley against Man City was probably the best day of their footballing lives.
Sure.
So, how much do you think they get for him now, Lubo? If we're talking Guay, how much do you think? It's rumoured that Liverpool, that's the next one after Isak, if that happens. What do you reckon they get for him as opposed to the 70 they would have got 7 months ago?
45 maybe.
So you're saying that the extra, so the 25 million lost is made up because of the FA Cup win?
For sure.
Which didn't even get them into Europe in the end, or got them into the...
It will do. But the other thing also, Sean, is that the chances of Palace winning the Europa was probably a lot slimmer than their chances of winning the conference. So if they do win the conference, and they've probably got, if they carry on in the same vein that they did last season, they've probably got a very good chance of winning the conference. And if they win the conference, then they go into the Europa. So it's probably worked out for them. The same way that finishing fifth under Ange and losing by 2 points to Villa worked out well for us because
maybe
the Champions League.
There's a lot of if buts and maybes in there, but I would just make the argument though that on an asset valuation model, the idea of saying no, the only reason like he can say no if he wants, but when you said that it was, I forget the adjective that you used to describe Daniel Levy's attempt to sign him for 70 million. What was it you said?
It was a Mickey take. It wasn't serious. It wasn't serious to go to Palace on the 28th or 29th of January. You should go to Palace on the 1st of Jan. If you want that player,
not January. You know that 95% of all January business across everywhere in the Premier League, at least, takes place in the last 4 or 5 days because it's a Mexican standoff. Nobody wants to shoot first in January. January is boring. It's ridiculously. It's a terrible window. You get a couple of things that are done on January the 1st that were organised in December, and then it's crickets until the 25th of January. So I just disagree with the way that you're summarising that particular attempt.
Only Manchester City have ever done anything. This January, they were the only team that historically have done anything that large. When they went early, didn't they, Sean? But other than that,
Van Dijk went in January, correct?
Yeah, but the Van Dijk deal was organised for like 18 months, wasn't it? Because they went to Southampton, like in the previous summer, and then Southampton said no, and they were okay. Don't worry, then we'll just wait. We'll bide our time and we'll get him in January. I'm just saying, like, we don't know how long Tottenham are looking at Grealish. We don't know how long there's been conversations. In the end, it doesn't matter because Gahey. In the end, it doesn't matter because Gahey turned us down this summer anyway, right? So he didn't want to come to Tottenham. Regardless, so it's a moot point. I just disagree with the essence of the notion that it was a Mickey take. Most business in January is done in the last few days, and there's massive signings that take place on deadline day that don't give the selling club the opportunity to replace. But that's why money can be amplified, and the bids are pushed to higher levels. Gahey wasn't a £70 million player with 18 months left on his contract, and like I say, Crystal Palace now have to make a very difficult decision of getting 40 or losing him for free in 12 months.
Going back to the Matt Law subject, take him out of the equation. We've seen enough proof over the years that Sean's chairman wants too much money for players, and we don't get rid of them.
Sean's chairman. Didn't Sean's chairman just get you Palhinha and Kudos?
No. That was Lubo's CEO.
Ben Davies and Ben Davies and Matthias Stel, yeah.
So hang on. Can I ask a question to everyone? So Sean's got a chairman, Lubo's got a CEO, Stel and Johnny, what have you two got?
Johnny's got a coach. Johnny's got a coach in Thomas Frank.
Which one of you is owning Lang? Who's having the director of football?
I'm the Don, mate. I'm only interested in the Don and the Frank, right? That's it.
Because it's my manager. I'm claiming the manager, though. I'm just saying. I'm claiming the manager.
I'm the Frank. I'm the Frank. Hey,
I'll be the kit man.
Listen, all I know is Sean, here's something to get you sexed up, mate. Burnley are buying Espanyol. Can you believe it, mate?
What?
So the Americans that own Burnley?
The Burnley owner?
Burnley are buying, Espanyol.
They're American.
I'm telling you, multi-club ownership is back, bro. Liverpool.
We were the leaders. We were the pioneers. We had to get rid of all our clubs. Enoch were the forefront of it all. Had to get rid of Rangers, Sparta Prague, got rid of them all. And as soon as they got rid of them all, UEFA changed their mind, and now it's a thing.
That is so weird, though. Who's higher in the pecking order between Burnley and Espanyol?
So this is Perchie's second team, so we've got to be careful how we talk about Espanyol, right? Perchie will go mad.
Liverpool paid 100 million, or are paying 100 million pound for Getafe, which is 20 million pound less. They bought a club, a stadium, an entire squad roster, staff, car park, whatever, hotels, everything else, an HR department. They paid 100 million pounds, which is 20 million pound less than they paid for Florian Wirtz.
It says the owners of Espanyol have held a shareholder meeting and given approval of the sale agreement to Burnley owner Alan Pace. Pace Investment Velocity Sports Limited received 99.51% control of votes in favour of the takeover. The latest development has been communicated to the Shenzhen stock market, dealing in China, Interesting. Wow. The process now needs the final stage with the Consejo Superior Deportes Group, the body that must have approved anything involving the sale of more than 25% of the share capital as per Spanish sports law. Burnley making moves. They might not be buying players, but they're buying clubs.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Look, let's I just want to shift the conversation. We know we need to buy, right? We know I don't think that anyone on the panel is sitting there thinking
say Burnley is still shit.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't think that anyone on the panel is sitting here saying that Kudos and Palhinha is enough. No. Guys, we all said at the beginning of the show, right, that
my man,
the forward options that Spurs have got at the moment don't quite match what we've got, the options we've got at the back, so to speak. Is it imperative now, guys, that we get Son out this club come Monday and that we actually now go again and get a left-sided player and get a striker? Because with all the will in the world, Odegaard for me is just not good enough right now. Tell, not good enough right now. Richie, Solanke. Do we need forwards, guys, and how desperately?
Listen, Kolo Muani ticks all the boxes, man. He ticks all the boxes. £90 million, right, from Eintracht Frankfurt to PSG. Didn't quite work out. He's gone straight to Juventus. He's smashed it, right? They want to keep him. They can't afford him. They're still trying to get rid of other players. This is a guy who can play on the left, he can play on the right, and he can play as a centre forward. We saw him in the Club World Cup. Was it 2 goals and an assist in the games? He was a menace every time he got on the ball.
Johnny, he's not going to want to come to Spurs, man.
No, I'm just saying.
Just agreed a 5-year deal with Juventus.
No, I'm saying that would be the player that he'd like to get. But listen, they've been trying to get the deal for a long time. They've been trying to get that deal for a long time. We need to get a top player. There's no point getting also Rans, you know? I mean, Palhinha ticks the box, Kudos ticks the box, but we're far from the finished article. We need a mega player. We need a top player on that.
Can I throw a curveball into this? When Wisa and Mbuemo and these players signed for Brentford, who were they? Wasn't Frank praised for coaching them and making them really good players? So doesn't Frank have to coach some of the players we've currently got and make them those players?
Yeah, but
so doesn't that negate the need to buy more players?
No, hang on a second. When I was watching Brentford, right?
Frank doesn't need to coach, no?
No, listen.
No, he doesn't need to coach. But but again, this is where we're not talking apples and apples. You're talking apples and oranges. At Brentford, their job is to survive in the league, right? So Frank can coach them. They don't have a lot of money. They
we wanted them when we were at Spurs. We as fans, we wanted them.
Yeah, but straight away in the same sentence, you're now changing the goalposts. We want Mbeumo and Visa the article they are now. We didn't want them the article they were when Frank got his hands on them and started coaching.
Frank made them into those players is the point I'm making.
Yeah, he did. But
hang on. But my point is still, I don't know. Surely you get this, right? Surely we're Tottenham Hotspur in the Champions League. Yeah, have some Tells and Odegaards in the background to coach. But the players in front of them in the first team, they've got to be better than Odegaard and Tell. They've got to be.
Well, I'm just saying, if the club have spent £35 million on Tell, surely it's now the job of Frank to turn Tell into the potential that they've spent the money on.
If we don't get an attack still, if we don't score a lot of goals and we're not good going forward, like earlier when you went, I'm not excited, you'll blame that. You come on. Yes, he's a coach. Yes, he's going to make players better. We can't give him Odegaard, Tell, Solanke, Richarlison and say, go on, this is, hang on. This is good enough for a Champions League season. We need better players, surely.
Listen, I'll tell you something. Like, I've been watching Brentford.
So Frank has got no responsibility to
hang on a second.
any of these attackers into a better player.
Yeah, but I'm just going to answer that question. 5 years ago, I've been watching Frank and Brentford for the last 5 years due to a specific reason. Not out of choice, but just because I have been. Right, and I've been watching some of the players that have come through, and I've lost count at how many players. I remember watching Ivan Toney coming from Peterborough and watching him in those first five games after he replaced Ollie Watkins, and he looked like an absolute donkey. He couldn't do anything, and Thomas Frank honed him and honed him and honed him. And he's done the same with Mbeumo, and he's done the same with Vissa. But the
just proving my point.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second, right? The point. Yeah, but let me finish. The point I'm trying to make is what Savva was making was that ain't going to happen overnight. Therefore, what we need is players for now, right? Until those players are ready. You can't turn a player into a diamond. You can't polish a diamond into a diamond, a rough stone into a diamond overnight. I think Kudos and Tell will both be really good players under Thomas Frank because of the way he coaches them. And I believe the other players will improve. But we're not interested. We can't be sat there with fans like yourself who will criticise them if we're playing boring football and we're not producing goals.
I never said I've got an issue with boring football, Johnny. You're not listening. I said, has our fan base got an issue with it because of what they've been like in the past? It just seems like you want your whole cake and to eat it. And Frank hasn't got any responsibility to coach any of the attackers into actually good players.
We're not saying he is. We're saying he is going to coach them.
Well, can I get one point across without you lot jumping on me with vultures?
Because, mate, you made the point and I was countering it.
But what's happening on this channel is whenever I mention Frank's name, you're so defensive. It's unreal, man.
No, mate, you made a point.
No, let me call you out on this. Right?
I never even finished my point. You're doing it again. Go on.
Every single post you put out on YouTube when you're on a show is Frank, right? Levy. We don't act like a big club. We don't do this. Somebody suggests we need better forwards, and your response is, but isn't Frank a coach? Like, come on, man. If Daniel Levy turned around right now, we want communication, right? If imagine Levy, Vinay turn around right now and go, we're not buying any better forwards because we got a coach. You lot would hammer them for having no ambition. Then when we're out
Conte, you called out Jose, you called out Ange for not developing the players, but Frank's got to be given the finished article. I'm sorry. This is a bias.
Sorry, what are we doing here?
Mate,
listen to what
you're being biased. Both of you are being biased.
Listen to what is actually being
I did listen.
said.
I'm listening.
You haven't.
I am.
Stel,
you're just dismissing every. You're dismissing every player at this club as not being able to be coached by a good coach that Frank is, because he's done it at Brentford. When Frank came to
gosh.
Okay, can I finish without the interruptions? Or I'll just go quiet and you lot talk. I don't mind. If you just want to do the talk.
But you're saying things that no one said. You're saying things that no one said still. No one said Frank doesn't have to coach. But
you're not listening.
But the difference is...
You're not listening to me.
Please. You've got to coach what's there, but that doesn't mean you don't need better in front of it. For example, Man United last year, the Man United fans saying, Højlund, Xerxes, Garnacho aren't good enough to be first teamers. But if they had better, but if they had better players in front of them, those players should be being coached in the background to develop into first team players. So no one's saying Frank doesn't have to coach, but you bang on all year, ever since I've seen you for Levy, do better, buy better players. We're not serious. Someone suggests, cool, buy serious players to compete. You go, but haven't we got Frank to coach these players? Both, hang on. Both of those things still should be happening. It's not either or, but we're not Brentford. We're not Brentford. At Brentford, he can bring in Wissa and slowly integrate him and coach him over the years. At Tottenham, we're a Champions League football club. So no one's absolving him of that he has to coach. He will coach. He coaches every day. But that doesn't mean that we've got a good enough attack. And we all said it earlier. So why wouldn't you want to buy better playlayers?
I don't get. We just beat Arsenal today. We just beat Arsenal today. Feel good factor is great, and we're bitching about this. It's pathetic.
Hang on, I just want Stel to respond.
And bring in a manager that's a proven winner that is going to work with the finished article, right? But when Frank came in, what I heard from across the fan base and what I heard from so many fans is he's a proper coach. He can work with the youngsters. He can develop them. I agree. We need to sign proven players. I'm not disagreeing. If you go back to what I said, I started off by saying, can I just throw a curveball in here, guys? Is Frank not going to develop any of these players that we spent money on? So therefore, we don't need to buy all these attackers. That's
so you are disagreeing.
And as soon as I said it, not Frank.
But you are disagreeing. But you're saying I'm not disagreeing. But by that notion, you're disagreeing. Why can't he do both? Why can't he coach in the background?
Savva, I just asked the question of the players currently here, whether it's Odebert, whether it's one of the youngsters like a Mikey Moore, okay, he's going out on loan, maybe another one, whether it's Mateus Stel, whether it is Solanke, who's currently here, whether it's Brennan Johnson, who spent 50 million on, is Frank not able to coach any of them into the
said he hasn't,
or two of them? That's what I asked. And you lost it.
No, because you're...
Yes! Yes,
no, Stel, sorry.
Mate.
Yes.
Sorry,
you're very
mate.
clever in what you do.
Mate,
you're
trying, mate.
I am clever. You
Yeah.
listen to what I said. Go back and listen. That's what I said, and you not lost it.
Let's let Sean talk. There you go, Sean. Come in,
You not
mate.
lost it.
Can't listen anymore. Sean.
I don't really have too much to say on this one. I think it's a bit of, listen, I love the arguments, I love the debate, I'm here for it. But on this particular point, I think that there's a yes, you need both, right? You need to have some youth players that can come in and participate in the mix. You need to have them. You need to have a good coach. For what it's worth, I actually don't think that Thomas Frank is the guy that's going to get the best out of some of these players. I think it's going to be Cochrane. I think I've got so much expectation for Cochrane, and I'm so happy that he's come along. That he's my kind of shining light in all of this, if I'm entirely honest. I love watching his content when it pops up on YouTube. But look, I also think that obviously you know, relying on a few young players and getting the best out of them, there's a learning curve there. There's a very steep learning curve, and if you're waiting for that to happen, you'll be waiting for a couple of years at least. And by that point, Tottenham fans will have already melted down because we're not Champions League level football, Champions League in the league, and then Thomas Frank will be out anyway, and then someone else will have to come in. So you need to mix them both. The other variable, though, is that you do have a finite squad size. So you can't have 25 kids that need coaching and also a first team full of 27-year-olds that are monsters that are already ready, sort of here now, ready to go. So you have to sort of have that balancing act. And I think that with signings like Palhinha and one or two others coming in, I think we can get there. But I'd still absolutely expect and require Thomas Frank and Cochrane and his coaching staff to to polish some of these diamonds. I know that you guys think that Matisse Tell isn't the guy. Maybe you don't think Odebear's the guy. I think that both of those guys have got a lot in their locker, and I'm excited to see what Thomas Frank gets out
You
of them.
believe he will do it? You see, my point here is if you look at the after game reaction after the game, I mean, even today, he's come up to Bergvall, he's tapping him on the belly, he's having a conversation with him, he's got his hands around him, pointing at him, discussing the game. He's gone up to other players in the game. We've seen him in deep conversation with Cuti Romero. This guy's hands-on, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. And obviously, his job is to improve the players, obviously. I can't say, apart from Bergvall, whose progression was natural, I can't think of one single player that Ange Postecoglou improved in the 2 years, right? Not one. And I'm sorry, but I believe that his coaching, if you give it time, and I'm not talking about 2 years, I'm talking about a few months, that we will see certain players progress. We will see certain players that don't progress. And let me tell you, if they don't progress, they'll be out. It's as simple as that, because he won't suffer any fools. But there's a way to play. There's a be expected commitment and work rate from each of them. And they'll be told and they'll be shown, whether it's Cochrane, whether it's Frank, or whether it's the video team and the data team. They'll be sitting down with each player saying, you're not doing X, you're not doing Y. This is what's expected of you. That's what he did at Brentford. And if you don't do it, you're going to pay the price for it, right? Because he might seem all nice and friendly, but believe me, if you cross him and you don't do what he wants, then there'll be problems. But you know, I just think that we need other players as well as them. It's as simple as that.
Well, Johnny, where I think
Stel and Odebear are going to be fine in a couple of years. I think
it might be 2 years. It might be 6 months, 7 months. Who knows?
I think they've both got great potential. I think you'll see bits and pieces from them. Possibly you'll see flashes. You know, you saw with Odebear last year. I think was it Alkmaar in the second leg. We came back from a goal down, and he scored 2 out of the 3. You're seeing little bits. I thought Odebear looked very good in parts today. The run where he hit the post first half, I thought was impressive. I think he's got pace. He's direct. He's got a lot going for him. Tell, I'm not so sure. I prefer Odebear of the two, but I do think, you know, if we've got Kudus on the right, I think you go and get, and I mentioned it before, I think you go and get someone who's a bit mavericky like, bit flamboyant, someone who's electric like Rafael Leao from AC Milan. The guy's there to be bought. I think that strengthens your left-hand side. I think Sonny will either go after somebody's game, or maybe there'll be a swan song at home to Burnley in front of the crowd. I don't know. But we need, I'd love to see Eze at the club. You know, go after Visser. You know, there are players out there, and we do need it. We need upgrades. Richie, unfortunately, I love his work rate. I love his effort. I love his commitment. He's never going to be, you know, for us to be where we want to be. Richie's not that player. He's not going to be in that squad. I don't think Solanke is either. I think we need 2 very good strikers. I'll mention it again. I read reports. Harry's looking to come back in the summer. Love to get Kane back. Love to get one other very good striker in. We need upgrades. It's okay with Frank, with this team. Maybe we finish 7th, 8th, 9th, but we're not gonna indent on the top 4, Newcastle and Villa, unless we upgrade on this squad.
Lubo, let me ask you. See, this is where I find it crazy that the notion of wanting better players. So what? We've got a coach. Pep Guardiola's a coach. He manages to coach his youngsters whilst buying better players for his first team. Right? That's how life works. If you look at all of the teams around us, if you look at the big 4, right? If you look at the big 4, you look at Newcastle, you look at Villa, now look at Man United's forward line. None of our forwards, arguably Kudus, get into their forward lines.
No.
We've got to get better. Tel and Odegaard don't make those clubs. They don't make those teams as it stands. I'm not saying they've not got potential, because what happens, Lubo, is if I say I don't like them right now, you don't, young players, cool. But right now, surely everyone can see Spurs need better forward players than that. I'm not saying they can't progress. I'm not saying they can't get better, but this is as weak as I've seen us in a forward line for years. Solanke is, it's really weak. Newcastle got much better forwards than us, wide players than us. We should be at least at their level before we're talking about the Tels and the Odegaards. These are, I keep hearing they're going to be good, they're going to do this, but neither of them ever score a goal, neither of them ever assist. You've got to have somebody grabbing goals. You've got to have threat. And I just don't understand why me suggesting better forwards is being frowned upon. Surely that's what we all want, isn't it?
It's not being frowned upon. It's not being
Newcastle have bought Gordon from Everton, Alanga from Forest, Harvey Barnes from Leicester.
Yeah, they've got Barnes.
Yeah, Jacob Murphy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're losing players and they can't sign anyone at the moment.
Sure, I get that, but at the same time, I'm just using them as a benchmark because that's where I think we need to get to as the next level. By the way, I want to be above them, but they're 30 points above us right now, right?
You think? Go on, Savva. Sorry, Savva.
No, we need to get there. I'm just looking at Villa as well. You look at players like Morgan Rogers, players like Ollie Watkins. You compare it to the forwards we've got. It's not.
Can I just ask you, Savva? Do you think though? I mean, look, I was never a person that wanted Dom Solanke. I wanted Gyökeres. Season before last. Do you not think, though, with a manager like Thomas Frank, I mean, his performance in the Reading game, Solanke, was pretty appalling. But that said, could we see Thomas Frank looking at how Solanke played under Iraola when he was effective, playing off the shoulder, not how Ange had him dropping deep, that we could extract a better performance out of him than Ange did? And I think that might, I think it's maybe a bit early to just, write him off. Although I'm not a massive fan and Richarlison's not performing, are we a bit early on it? I mean, Thomas Frank himself said
he's going to say, Johnny, he's going to say.
Are we early on who? Sorry?
No,
Solanke.
are we a bit early on because Solanke's had look, in my opinion, he wasn't brilliant last season, okay? He wasn't anywhere near a top striker. He wasn't the striker that we bought from Bournemouth that Iraola had playing, because under Iraola, he was playing off the shoulder of the two defenders, the two centre-backs. And when he came to us, he was dropping deep, thought he was prime Harry Kane in the middle of the park. That's not what we need. And I just think that between Cochrane and Frank, they will utilise him to his best abilities, I believe. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Dom Solanke, I think we'll see a better version of him this season.
Johnny, I don't disagree. I think he's going to do better this year. I think it's impossible for him not to do better than what he did last year. But the point still stands that we're in the Champions League this year.
Agreed.
I think you've got to have options. And when I look at the options right now, none of them do I go, he's exciting. None of them do I go, he's going to cause their back four a problem. And Solanke's decent. He's decent. I said that all along. I didn't want him. I think everyone knows that now. I didn't want him. When you're 28 and you've had one good season in your career, I think there's a reason why, because you're not that good. He'll do better. But we need a different profile, Johnny. Don't you think we need a Defoe-esque?
We need a mobile...
A goal scorer, someone who's quick, gets in and around, gets shots off. We need something, right?
We need a thoroughly mobile, like a Luis Diaz, Kolo Muani, fucking animal that's just so mobile, it's hard to control him. The runs, the non-stop work rate.
Yeah.
Does Watkins or Vissa not fit that role?
No, Watkins. Watkins is 30 years of age. That's not for us. And he wants 60 million. Vissa, 19 non-penalty goals. You have to give that consideration. I mean, only Salah beat him last season for goals. that weren't involved in penalties. So, but, again, we're not going to be paying, Levy ain't going to be paying, 50, 60 million pounds. And Brentford, if they do sell him, they're almost committing Harry Carey, to be honest. They really are. Because they're not going to find two top strikers at the drop of a hat that are going to keep them up. I think it's a big ask for them if they let Visser go.
Yeah. I'd take him. I'd take Visser.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, yeah, 100% I'd take him. But it's just
we need someone who gets in a... I always use Defoe as the example, Johnny. I want somebody that their first thought, can I shuffle the ball out of my feet and get a shot away? And when I look at all of our forwards, I don't know if any of them scare centre backs.
Yeah.
Eberici, Eze, mate. Okay. Under Glasner got him working to be in the D outside the box. He wanted to position him more. Yes, he drifted out. Everyone thinks he's a 10, but more often than not, he played out on the left-hand side and drifted inside. But he's the guy that picks up the ball in the D, drops his shoulder and bangs one into the bottom corner. When you're playing against a low block and you can't break them down, he's the guy that can...
his claws ends tomorrow, isn't it?
Why haven't we gone for him?
I don't think he wants us, Lubo. I think he wants Arsenal.
Listen, look, if we made a bid for him, a proper bid, there's every chance that we could get him. Yeah, that's all I will say.
What? So if we hit his release clause tomorrow,
I'm just saying, like you have to have, Spurs are priorities, and at the moment, maybe with Morgan Gibbs-White falling through, maybe with Morgan Gibbs-White falling through, that an opportunity might come for that sort of deal to happen. Who knows? But right now, the fact that we've just done the loan deal and we've fallen out with Morgan Gibbs-White, yes, it's a plus. We're all feeling good. The win, Palhinha, fantastic. But we need it to continue. This is an unremarkable transfer window so far. I think we can all agree on that one.
Does he want Tottenham though? Because everything we've seen from everyone this summer is that he wants Arsenal. Even today, reports from Jacobs and all, like Arsenal still in talks because his clause runs out tomorrow, right?
Listen. I'm going to say what I can say and then leave it at that. But
no. But his release clause runs out tomorrow.
I know everything. Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is that Arsenal's position is that it's been printed. They need to sell. They need to sell players, right? Whether they Trossard, whether they sell Martinelli. But, look, when you look at it, you would say, well, where would be his best fit right now? For me, it would be Bayern Munich, linking up with Elise again, in the 10. Those two together would be absolutely lethal with Luis Diaz as well in the team. Be absolutely superb. It's just whether or not he would want to move to Germany or he'd prefer to stay in London. Obviously, I can't think of another player that's been released by a club, dropped by a club, and he's gone back to the club. But, as a 13-year-old, he was released by Arsenal. He's had a long journey all the way back, having to get him into QPR after having been dropped, performing for QPR, then Dougie Freeman, seeing what a lot of people didn't see, signing him for Crystal Palace. And, people say that Declan Rice upped his game when he moved to Arsenal and he became a better player. No, he moved to Arsenal and played with better players. And I can only imagine what Eberici Eze's game would be like.
There must be a reason, Johnny, why if Eze would come to Tottenham, there must be...
Well, the manager has to want him and the club have to want to pay the money for him. It's not just what a player wants at any club.
It's your CEO, Lubo. It's your CEO, mate. He's not. He just doesn't see the value in a player that makes so much sense for us.
No, but it's got to be it's not just about Levy. It's not just about Daniel. It's not just about anything. It's all the stars have to align. right? The selling club have to agree to the price. The buyers have to, the manager has to be interested. The owner of the club has to be willing to pay it and meet the frames. And, you know, there's a lot of things that have to align for a deal to come off. You know, it's not just the case, well, we want him and therefore that deal's going to happen. Sure. We're not Liverpool. We're not Man United. We're not Real Madrid. So therefore, you know, we're battling against, you know, other things. And, you know, right now.
That was my point, Johnny. There must be a reason why we've not gone in for him, whether it's we don't want him or he doesn't want us. There
opportunity
must be
cost. Opportunity
something.
Cost. Maybe there's players out there in Europe that are, you know, the plate spinning Don. Maybe he's flying under the radar. Maybe he's going to get flown in. There's rumours out that Paratici's sort of working some, trying to work some tricks over in Italy. I was talking yesterday about David Neres from Napoli, really cracking left winger. Or you could go and get the other guy, Raspadori, who plays in a 10 that can drift out to the left. There's loads of players. We've spoken ad nauseum about Nick Tadzi.
Yeah.
Well, Arden Jashari is not really that. He's not an Eze replacement, is he? But he's.
If you want someone, look, let's be honest, guys, right? And I'm going to put it right out there. I do not see James Maddison as being a perfect fit for Thomas Frank's system. Reason being, he wants a combative, hardworking, driving, hardworking 10. And I don't think that he has the physicality to play that over a course of a long season. And I can see a stage where eventually, if Frank is still here, that we see another 10 come in to challenge Thomas Frank.
Who's a powerful, combative number 10? Most 10s are quite nimble, aren't they? They're not physical.
But he's
Kulusevski's a powerful 10.
Yeah,
Kulu's not creative enough.
Yeah, but you know what, Stel?
Very unique though. He's got very unique value. Very unique. On his day, James Maddison, obviously, you know, when he's on song, he's great. But you know, I want to see him spend less time lying on the floor, moaning at referees about how he's just been knocked over and all the rest of it. Get up, play the game. I don't think he has the physicality.
Johnny, like, yeah, but who though? Because when I look in the past, Luka Modric played in the 10 for us. Ericsson played in the 10 for us.
Bruno Fernandes. There's Bruno Fernandes.
Paqueta for me would be the kind of the strong 10.
Fernandes is always on the floor. Bruno Fernandes is always on the floor.
Yeah, he controls games, mate. He controls games. And
you're never going to get Bruno Fernandes, though, but you can get...
No, can we bring it back to this comment about Frank likes a more physical type of player?
Lucas Paqueta.
Okay, Paqueta, that's one. Is that it? If it's not Paqueta, who else? Because
there's loads around Europe. There's 10s in Germany that you could go and get. There's 10s
because the 10s I know that we could. I mean, I don't know enough, but the ones I know of, none of them are really physical. Kulu, yes, but he's not creative enough. Like,
are they more physical than? Would you say? Okay, I'll realign it. Do you think
if it's physical we need? I just want to know who.
No, I'm saying more physical than James Maddison, right? James Maddison is not physically strong enough in so many of the games. And the system that look, you saw the aggression in the game today. That was a friendly. Spurs were not holding back. And he talks about it pre-game, post-game, right? About the aggression, winning that first ball, winning the second ball, tackle. I want you to be aggressive. I want you to be hard, right? And I just don't think he has the physical game because of his injuries and his niggles that he's going to be sustainable to play a large proportion of the season. So if he is out and you're looking for creativity, we need creativity. Can we agree on that? We need some creativity in the middle of the field.
I mean, just when we're talking about creativity, have a look at that. For all of the shit that gets talked about James Maddison, look at this man.
Yeah, Scott, go to his complete scouting report though. Yeah, I love James Matt. When he's on, he's fire.
We're not saying that. I'm just saying he's going to need his physicality, mate. And in this type of
what's going on there?
Where didn't I press it?
But does Maddison not deliver some of the best attacking stats of a 10? A physically.
Look at
it.
Yeah,
but the problem with FB refs is that it's always on a per 90. So when you've got a player that misses half the season, or when he's coming in playing 20 minutes at end of games, you can get sort of massaged and manipulated numbers. It's not a problem because as long as you take the same context into every analysis. But for me, yeah, I've got no problem. I love James Maddison when he's firing, when he's interested, when he's up for it, when he's entirely dialed in. He is a winner. A couple of other players though that you ask for physical sort of tens that players that can play in the 10 but can also be the creative role and maybe do a bit of other things. I think you could get Coop Miners. I think he's a baller that's quite physical. You could go and get, and he's probably attainable for the right money. I also think, I know he's going to go to Inter, but if there's a chance, because Atalanta are stalling for some reason, someone like Ademola Lookman, he's an absolute baller to play on the left and can absolutely play in the middle if he wanted to, if he was asked to as well. He's like, he's a perfect fit for what we need, and I know that he's probably going to go to Inter, and it's all wrapped up. But any chance you can get in there and ruffle that one up.
Eze is 100% a more physical 10 than James Maddison. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that James Maddison is a shit player. I'm not saying that whatsoever. What I'm saying is I'm not sure how he will cope with the physicality that's demanded.
How did Damsgaard?
But Maddison's coped with the physicality of the Premier League his entire career.
Yep, I'm talking about it's a different type of play that Tom.
How did Damsgaard?
I don't. What's different about the play where the 10 needs to be more physical under Frank?
Right. Okay. Well, listen. Look. Okay.
No, I'm with you still. I don't understand this one bit. We're talking about. Can I'm asking.
You're making out that I'm saying that James Maddison is shit, which I'm not.
No. I'm
focusing on the physicality side of it.
Damsgaard last year at Brentford was brilliant. He's tiny. He's very slight. He's not physical in any way, shape, or form. So how did Thomas Frank get that to work? But we're saying James Maddison, who's been in the Premier League and got multiple goals and assists throughout his entire career.
It's his injuries, isn't it? Basically.
Right. So it's not.
He is injury prone.
So it's injuries, not physicality. Is that what we're saying?
Physicality is part of the injuries. It's like, you get a knock and you struggle to get on with it. You can't be bullied, is what I'm saying. Look. You can't knock James Maddison when he's fit, right? And he's playing in his own song, right? No one's saying that, and I'm not saying that. And you can't argue with his goal contributions last season. But I just worry whether, we cannot be relying on one.
Johnny, can I put an idea forward then? Because there's someone that is physical, a little bit rash, but he is physical and he's shown it. But we're going to need to be patient with it. That's the trade-off, right? And that is Bergvall.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Sean and I were talking about it this morning, I think.
Yeah, I thought Bergvall had a decent shift today in the 10. Yeah. I thought he was quite clever running. He was breaking the offside line without the ball and then trying to come back in and occupy spaces off the back of the shoulder. He timed a couple of them badly. He was offside for a couple, but I think he's an intelligent footballer and I think he could do it. But I think this is going full circle, going back to that debate you guys were having around the kind of the nurture nature thing, right? That how many of our players need to be coachable and rough diamonds versus how many need to come in and be ready. I don't subscribe to this notion that the 10 has to be physical, especially if you have an 8 that is a beast and that you have a 6 behind that that's a monster. In Palhinha, we've got that. You don't need everybody to be an absolute monster, but there's certain teams out there like Newcastle United that have midfield threes that are pretty terrorising, right? And the same with Liverpool. Last year, we paid the price of, it was in sort of nothing burger games in the end, but having like people like Archie Gray playing in the 6 and having like Bergvall in the 8 and then having whoever it was in the 10 at the time, we were run through like a knife through hot butter, right? So you have to balance it out. If you're going to go and get a 10 if you're going to go and get like a Xavi Simons, for example, who, if we're concerned about the kind of physicality of a James Maddison, then Xavi Simons is like, he's closer to like a kind of Brian Hill in terms of his strength, but he's a wonderful, gifted footballer that can do things. You just need to place players around him that can do the hard graft and the and the physical stuff around it. Like it's like a rugby team, right? Like rugby has a space for the fast players, a space for the big fellas in the props, a space for the tall guys in the locks. There's a time and a place for every type of player, as long as you balance out the 11 so that you're blending physicality with athleticism and technical and graft. So
why haven't we got Eze? I'm asking, why haven't we bid for Eze? That's what I'm trying to.
I'm convinced. Agents have spoken, clubs have spoken, and I think they've spoken in the past. I think they've tested the waters. I don't think Eze wants to come to Spurs. That's my view.
I agree.
I've got no evidence to back it up. I just don't think he wants to come to us. I think he's
agree
got bigger teams he thinks he can go to.
Johnny knows something, right, from the smile on his face. But
I'd love Eze.
Surely,
I'd love him, but
maybe it's the price point as well, right? Like you're paying, like there's a massive trend right now. I know that other teams don't seem to mind doing it. I have a problem with Tottenham taking this approach, but for whatever reason, Lubo's CEO seems to believe that that paying 68, 70 million quid, whatever it is, for a 27, 28-year-old isn't the right way to do business. It's not. That's not just a Tottenham model, by the way. What's his name? Stefan Borson brought out some data on TalkSport showing City have been doing that trend. There's a hell of a lot of teams that are moving in that direction. Where we had this conversation before. A lot of fishes in the kind of the unproven but potential pond. Like me, I think that when everyone's pointing in that direction, if you've already been there in the past, which we have, I think you should be able to go over there and now pick up some value at the top end. I think Eze would be a dream signing, but it just doesn't feel like the club want to pay that money.
It's the one signing that, let's be honest, if he dropped Eze, Daniel Levy will suddenly go up in a lot of fans' estimations. Look, they say let the trend be your friend in investing, but I think that the trend is trying to extract value off of players, not necessarily buying 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old players. I'm talking about buying players for 22, 23. That's why Sesko, Ekitike, they're willing to, Florian Wirtz, they're willing to invest that money now because even after 3, 4, 5 years, and
keep their value.
There's value to sell on. Yeah.
If we
look at Morgan Rogers, hang on, Stel, would you guys look at Morgan Rogers?
Yeah. Look at us. He's never leaving, mate. Yeah.
Isn't he in talks right now signing a new 5-year contract?
Yeah, he's not going nowhere. Yeah. He's going nowhere.
The thing is, he signed Eze.
Physical, quick.
That's right. Yeah.
Getting better by the game. That's
Good
perfect.
point.
That's perfect.
What about Morgan Gibbs-White? What about him?
I just look, Johnny. I'm going to ask this question. I just want to see your facial expression. So, is there any chance? I don't believe there is. I'm in Stel's camp. Is there any chance that Spurs go in for Eze this summer?
There's always a chance, mate. There's always a chance. There's always a chance. I would say, if I was a betting man, Paqueta, Tonali, I would.
Tonali?
Betting man. He's saying betting
man.
I was going to say what? Paqueta and Tonali are coming. Hang on, Daniel Levy's now my chairman as well.
What Tottenham are crying out for is to sign Eze, because what we haven't had in years is that Klinsmann moment, that Edgar Davids moment, that Van der Vaart moment, where the whole club just raises its spirits. Sign Eze, it does that. I think the whole fan base will be like, wow.
If he signed Eze, it would be the biggest signing, in my opinion, since Rafa van der Vaart. In my opinion,
I agree.
And you know, the thing is, he reminds me. His gracefulness when he carries the ball reminds me a bit of Ginola in that sense, where he carries the ball. He comes inside with the ball, or he tries to go outside. There's so many positives about this player. I think most of the fan base, you know, when we saw Spurs v Crystal Palace the last couple of games of the season, where he absolutely demolished us, you know, all the kids and all the fans asking him after the game, "Are you coming to Spurs? Are you coming to Spurs?" I think he's probably the one player that the whole fan base could unite behind as being a major signing. The problem is that, as I said, all the stars have to align. Steve Parish has got to allow to sell him, right? Thomas Frank is going to want him.
He's got a release clause,
right? Hang on a second. What's them has to want him? First and foremost, we don't know what the budget is. We might know, for all we know, there's £80 million left, and he wants to buy 1, 2, 3 players. We don't know. I'm just guessing, right? And maybe he doesn't want to use up that money. I would say that if the best chance of Eze coming to Spurs is Eze still being available in the last
few days
of the season, yeah.
Can I just quickly ask you guys a question, though? I just want to ask a real quick question.
Can I just say, if we signed Eze, I'd do something I haven't done in decades, and Sean will make a whole video on it. I will go into the Spurs shop, give Levy 80 quid for a jersey, and put Eze on the back.
Don't do that, mate. Just go to DH Gate. Go to DH Gate. It's fantastic. I won't hold that against you.
Please let Sean video that moment. I want you two together for the day and a video of that.
Shop, giving
100%.
Levy.
Listen,
I just want to ask, guys. I just want to quickly ask, just because I just want to quickly sort of chime in here. You talked about the last big signing was Rafa van der Vaart. Have we, as a fan base, completely disrespected the signing of Mohamed Kudus because 24 hours later we thought that Gibbs White was done and we moved on very quickly? Because for me, Mohamed Kudus is a monster signing, but I think because of because of the proximity to the one after, as soon as it's done, you move on to the next one. And then the 2 weeks of will he, won't he, ended up not. Fan went back into meltdown. I think that Kudus has been entirely almost overlooked as a signing.
We haven't forgotten him, Sean, but 5 goals and 3 assists. Someone on a downward trend, right?
Kudus is the biggest name signing. Many people say since Van der Vaart. Kudus is the biggest name signing since Van der Vaart.
I think we can agree. I think we can agree that Eze would be a bigger signing. I'm not disrespecting Kudus.
Easily, Johnny. Easily bigger.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that isn't Kudus. Have we? Because of the timing and what happened with Gibbs White, have we all just sort of oh, that was good, and then we moved on to the next one so quickly, and then because that went to shit, we just sort of forgotten about Kudus.
No, Eze is a much bigger. That would be a massive.
Not what I'm saying. Forget about the Eze thing. I'm just talking about Kudus in isolation. I just feel like we haven't spent any time really chewing it over about how much of a signing it would be.
Sorry, Stel. Sean, 12 months ago, I'd have agreed with you because he had a fantastic season at West Ham. Last year, he was a bit underwhelming for whatever reason. And that's why maybe it's not catching the imagination as maybe you think it should do.
Signing, Sean, it's a good signing. There's no two ways about it. It's a good signing. It's a positive signing compared to what we had. But, it's, does it get your juices flowing, right? I suppose the Mohamed Kudus that West Ham bought would have got your juices flowing. The Mohamed Kudus, as Ian just said, in that first season, fantastic. But, for whatever reason, it hasn't been as good. I think he's the type of guy that you're going to need shoulder round on a consistent basis. But I think Thomas Frank is the type of guy that will get that out of him. I think Kudus and Tel would become better players. But I just think we need... Eze just fits in. He just.
Can I show you something, Johnny? Can I show you something? First of all, guys, we're going for another 8, 9, 10 minutes max. So please, I'll ask nicely. Sean set a nice cheeky little target of 1,000 likes. We're at 810. We can get another 190 likes. There's 1,400 of you in here. We've had just under 100 subscribers tonight as well. So if we can get one last push to get another 30, 40, 50, it'll be amazing. I want to show you this, guys. So if we said something like this, which, by the way, we are one signing away from having as a first 11, if I said that was going to be our team.
Can we zoom in a bit? I can't.
Yeah, one sec.
It's like we're sitting at the top of the East Stand looking at the game.
I feel like I'm at Newcastle away.
Savva is clearly long-sighted.
So, mate, I've got 20/20. I've had laser eye surgery, mate. I can see everything. So Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Spence, Bentancur and Palhinha, and then Maddison, Eze, Kudus, Solanke.
Yeah, sensational.
Now look at that 11.
Could still be better.
Savva, just quickly, could you get a second tab open and stick in the reserve team without any other signings in there, just to also do the second string whilst everyone else having their say on it?
Have the chat. I'll do it in the background. Thanks, Sean. I love it when you give me admin to do.
Sorry, mate. I'll do it. It's right. I'll do it.
Joking.
I like your 11, but I'm not a fan of Solanke, guys. I'm not.
No. Stel, I want better. But what I'm saying is, at the moment, if we were to say the monster striker is next summer, that as an 11, you're still going to go, what? Maddison's creativity, Eze's creativity, Kudus' direct running and hold-up ability, Solanke can stay in the box, Porro and come on, I think it's miles from where we were last season, right?
Controversial, but if that is the starting 11 and Son doesn't leave, I'd rather play Son in the striker role in that team.
Oh wow, that is controversial.
I think he's more clinical. I just think he's more clinical. That's all.
Can I just say, guys, if you're in the chat, 1,400 of you, only 100 likes. I reckon that only 40% of the people who've been watching tonight have actually hit the subscribe button. Subscribe doesn't actually cost you any money. All it does is notify you when we're going to be on twice a week, but it helps us grow the channel. And it's just that thumb. So hit that thumb button. And if you're here, hit the like button. The 5 tonight have given 2.5 hours of their time. All we're asking for is a little press of the button and a like.
Here you go, Sav.
There you go.
Can I just say to people in the chat, my thinking of Son being up front is
I've been doing it in the background, Sean.
not to hold the ball up.
Up front.
Yeah, but people are saying in the chat he can't hold the ball up. I wouldn't have him there to hold the ball up. I'd have him there because he can actually put the ball in the net. Because that team can create chances. Kudos, as wherever the Savva's 3 behind the striker.
The trouble is, Sonny is now finishing. Sonny is now finishing the way Mateta was finishing before Oliver Glasner got hold of him. At a barn door. Honestly, I don't know what's going on with him. The only time I've seen him smile on this whole tour was when he held up the Baldy trophy or whatever it was called. What was the trophy?
Maybe he knows he's off. Maybe he knows he's leaving.
Yeah.
So that would be the second team, right? Richarlison, Telson, Kulusevski, Johnson, Odebear, Bergvall, Sarr, Udogi, Vuskovic, Dragusin, Danzo. I've just put Gray over there. We definitely need another fullback. And Kinski. And then you've got young players behind them like Donnelly. The first 11 looks great if you can put Eze in there. You just need to obviously sell Sonny to make room. It's not even a bad rotation squad. This was the point we were making. I think it was on Thursday we were making this one. But I don't think that the reserve team is that much of a drop-off. Like, it is a drop-off, but in terms of fairly decent standings in most of those positions, Savva, I just feel like if you get another fullback, if you go and get Anthony Robinson to come in at left back, or if you want to put Jez Spence on the left and go and get a right back, there's probably a better market in the right back space than there is in the left back space for what it's worth. I think we're pretty good at centre half, aren't we? Or you can go and get like a Hincapi. I know Johnny's mad about Hincapi, even though he said I think what's his name? Ten Hag said he's not selling him. But like, to me, I just think that like the squad is not far away from being competitive and also having enough strength in rotation to be able to sort of stand on its own 2 feet.
Sean, isn't this the team that got battered every single week in the league when Ange rested the best players for Europa?
Yeah.
No, hang on. That's not
the system was different.
True.
The system was different.
I just said that team.
Yeah, that's not
in the league when they played. They were getting battered every week, weren't they?
Yeah, but it's what happens when you play a back two and have no midfield. Like, it's, you know what I mean?
I mean, I just think Richarlison is shite. I can't stand the fact he's at Spurs.
Still, I said earlier, listen, so far, what you've just said there, think about what you've just said. You've gone, Savva, I don't agree. I don't rate Solanke. I think Richarlison's shit. Earlier on, when I said we've got to get a better forward, you said, well, hang on, haven't we brought Frank in to coach them better?
But I stopped speaking because my thinking is, if you're going to invest in the finished article, bring in a winner that works with those types of players, because I was under the impression that Frank, because of his wonderful work at Brentford, working with players that weren't household names, developed them into the talent, and therefore he would be able to work with more of our players that are already here rather than having to invest in the proven finished product now. That's why I mentioned it. If it was down to me, Savva, I'd get rid of half this squad, replace it with really good players, and have Glasner as the manager. That's what, if it was down to me, but it's not me. That's let's see what Frank
not happy at the moment.
I thought you said Frank had to develop the squad. I'm lost.
That's what the narrative was. Him coming here, he can coach, he can develop players, he can work with with the youngsters. So my counter argument is, well, let him do it. Let's see what he does. But then it's like, but we need the finished articles. Well, all right. Then get a manager that works with the finished articles.
Needs the finished articles. When you're in the Champions League, you've got to have finished articles, don't you?
Let me ask you guys a question. If you had a choice at the start of this season to bring in a new manager, would you have brought in Frank or Glasner? Just out of curiosity. It doesn't matter what you say. Frank's here. He's the guy we're going to back. But who would you have brought in? I would have brought in Glasner personally.
Very good manager.
My first choice was Glasner.
Yeah, me too. But
doesn't mean Frank shit. I'm just saying.
I said I'd take Glasner, Frank, Iriola. I just wanted to coach, and this isn't just to coach individual players. I want to coach because they actually set up a team. I think this gets lost for me, guys, in the translation of the word coach. We purely think it's about just upskilling a player, but I want a coach that sets out a team. And that's what I like about Frank's, what I like about Glasner, and it's what I couldn't stand about the previous regime, that there was just no structure. So I'm happy with either Glasner. I love Glasner. But there was a lot of talk that we wanted, that he was on the shortlist, but that Palace, it would have been very difficult to get him out of Palace. And Parish is not easy to work with, right? I've heard that Parish is not forthcoming, a bit like Lee. So
forget Eze then. Forget that one. Okay, now.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, Eze, this is what interests me about the Eze situation. His release clause ends tomorrow. His release clause ends tomorrow of 60 plus 8, right? So for me, this is what I don't get. I don't know if Johnny knows something, but this is for me. I'm thinking, hang on, if you want him and his release clause ends tomorrow and he wants to come to Spurs, why not go and whack down that Morgan Gibbs White money and go, brilliant, bring him in, get him ready for PSG. And I think all Spurs fans, even these two guys to the side of me who pretend they've got barbers, even these guys, right? Even these guys, I think will turn around and go, fair play to the ownership. You've gone and got Palhinha and Eze and Kudus.
100%.
Look how much stronger we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would send Vin a personal email, I'll tell you.
But so that makes me wonder why, Lubo, if Eze wants us, that must mean that Frank doesn't want him. Do you know what I mean?
I'd write a letter to Charrington. I'd say, thanks, Charrington. Good.
You write to Charrington.
I'd write a letter as well. I'll co-sign it.
Charrington. You speak to Frank. Johnny to Paritici. I'll give Vin a call. Sean, you ring your chairman. Between us, we should have all points covered.
If we get Eze and it's Vinay, I will personally go to Daniel Levy's front door and say thank you for employing the people that have done an absolutely incredible job, because that's apparently the buck stops at the top argument.
Actually, Sean, you should actually be getting on a plane and going over to the Bahamas and saying to Joe Lewis, thank you for bringing Vinay in.
I will do that as well.
Yeah, and you'll probably get a nice holiday.
If he goes and gets Eze, if we brought in Eze, Palhinha, and Kudus, and they were the only 3 first-team starters that he bought, I think we can all take a step back as fans and go, do you know what? Cool. We've got some good players to work with here. Now go and compete for 5th. Now go and compete for 5th. I still think 4th's a tiny bit away, but go and compete for 5th. Go and compete in the league. At the moment, though, that's a huge jump between Eze and nothing, because Eze's a match winner for me. That's that Stardust for me. That's the Stardust. So I think Levy and Vinay could really get everyone on board if they made that happen. And that's how fine lines are in football, right? Fine lines.
100%. Doesn't have to be Eze, though. Doesn't have to be Eze. It could be someone like, I'd be just as excited if we got Mikel Tadzi for half the money, for what it's worth.
Yeah, listen, I'd love Mikatadze up front. I'd love to get him up front. Obviously, different player to Eze. I'd also like Paqueta. I'd like Paqueta.
Yeah,
Eze's different though. He's different.
Yeah, I hear. He's got that style.
So good on the ball, man. He's so good on the ball. He really is.
Injury
You know
prone.
that we're going to get a here we go in the next 2 or 3 days for Arsenal to Eze, right? We kind of know that we're building up to that. Listen, I think unless anyone's got anything pressing they want to say, I'll get the super chats done and we'll wrap up. Unless anyone wants to mention anything.
Well done. Good show.
I'm good. Well done.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Good show.
Ready? Let me see if I can get through these. Let's do this. Matt C, thank you very much. He said, Lubo. Oh, no, we've done that one. No, Lubo is the same barber as Levy. Give me my chairman's trim. Yeah, he is Lubo's chairman. From now on, we all refer to him as Lubo's Levy. No, let me get through the super chat.
Hang on. I've got 0.5. Levy's got a 0.
Oh, sorry, Stel. I am trying to end the show, mate. I am trying. I promise you. Big up, Matt. Thank you very much. Rick Kane. It's a great start for Frank. Long may it continue. Big up to you, Rick. Really appreciate that. And yeah, absolutely. Let's hope we keep winning as the season starts. Big up to Rich, who has said, who do you think will drop the 60 million Morgan Gibbs White money on? Well, I think, Rich, we've just had that discussion there, haven't we? Maybe an Eze, maybe a Paqueta, maybe a Mikatadze. There's players out there. Let's see. Maybe a little a McAtee. I don't know. I don't know what they're planning. Let's see. I don't know what they're planning. It's got Spurs written all over it, isn't it? It's got Spurs written all over it. Big up to you, Rich. Thank you very much. Josh, said Mawani links stink of an agent forcing Juve's hand. Multiple reports tonight that he has signed a 5-year deal. I don't know. I don't know. Listen, I'd love Mawani, but we'll see. Big up, Josh. Mills, thank you very much. Said, I guess I have to ask this question every week. With Palhinha and the Arsenal performance, where do we finish in the table this year? Guys, do you think? I don't think it changes for me. I still think 7th. I still think we're missing a lot up top, Mills. Guys, just quickly, is that fair? I think we're missing a lot up top to finish any higher for me.
7th or 8th.
Will you stop talking about Lubo's hairline, mate? Come on, for the love of God, get through. We're not missing that much up top. Get through the rest of the super chats.
Do you know what? These questions are impossible to answer until the team's got into the season and the season's go. After 10, 15 games, you can properly gauge it. Like, say it now. We don't know what the other teams are going to do, whether they flop, whether they flourish, whether we surprise everyone and really hit the ground running, whether we stay in the Champions League longer, which affects us in the league, or if we crash out the Champions League after 8 games and we just focus on the league. It's impossible.
Just want progression. For me, all I want to see is progression. I don't want to see us unbeaten in the first 10 games and then lose 34 games in the next 18 months after that. Got no interest in that. I'd like to see, I expect us to lose games. I expect us to see slow progression, but anything is better that we see improvement. To some fans, unless we win a trophy, Thomas Frank is toast.
Fair enough. Big up to you, Mills. Thank you very much. I'm sure we'll see you next week with another one of those. Kobe has said, we're not getting top players without overpaying on wages. Otherwise, there is no reason players won't go for the top 4 European giants. We need to get coachable talent and create a culture of winning. Yeah, but Kobe, we've just seen, we've got Kudus. We've got Kudus without going mad on wages. We can pay the wages of Palhinha at 165 grand a week. We could pay Eze's wages. I don't buy into this that we can't get ready-made footballers because we don't pay enough. I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form. We got James Maddison, you got Christian Romero, Son's on big money. Now Palhinha's on big money. Sorry, just me. Unless any one of the boys want to jump in, I don't think that's. The big boys can't take every player. They can't take everyone. They have to stop at some point. Anyone? No?
No, I completely agree. And also, if it was always all about money, everybody would be in Saudi, and they're not for a reason. There's more to it than just the wages gap. It's an argument that's pushed around a lot by people that want to always find the outlying, overarching number, the sort of narrative as to why it is that Tottenham don't compete. The current low-hanging fruit in that argument is wage to turnover ratio. We had this conversation before. It's not the overarching narrative. It's just the one thing, the common denominator that separates us between the big 5 is that. But again, if you look at all the other teams in the Premier League that don't win anything either, they also have a higher wage bill or a higher wage to revenue ratio. So it's not the overarching thing. Ambition is, and the probability of winning a higher frequency of trophies. That's easy to prove.
Yep. Interesting. Big up to you, Kobe. Appreciate that, though. Thank you very much. MUFC, the names are back. Said Garnacho would be your best player from us. Stop trying to sell us players, because I know after this you're going to put another one in asking us to sign Collier. Stop. We'll buy him if we want him. If we don't, we won't. But big up to you and good luck on getting Sesko. Looks like you're about to make your first bid, according to Romano and Plettenberg. Looks like you're making your first bid tonight. Fair play to you. Big up to you. Kobe's back in again. Very generous. Said, I hate to say, but we need to follow a similar model to Arsenal and build slowly. Let the young players grow and take the lumps on the way up the table. I mean, as a fan base, how many times do you want to hear that we've got to build slowly?
We're building for 25 years, Trav.
Listen,
I know.
25 years.
I'd like to get it. I'd like to see us do something before we peg it. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm going to die before this slowly progression thing works. Big up to you, though, Kobe. Really appreciate that. Big up to Gary Paul Speed. Big up to you. Has said Jonathan Brandt as a 10 for Spurs. Do you mean Julian Brandt of Dortmund?
I think he does.
If you do,
If
you do, yeah, I like Brandt. I think he's a really talented lad. I don't know if he's available, his contract situation, but decent player, guys. Julian Brandt, good player.
Yeah, good player.
Yeah. Good. Big up to you, Gary. Thanks for that. Eureka Johnson. Big up for the super stick. I really appreciate that. And if you didn't want to see Eureka Johnson just once, we got another one, another super sticker. Big up to you. Thank you very much, Eureka.
I love Eureka Johnson. In more ways than one.
Big up to EdX. How you doing, Ed? Long time no see. He's become a YouTube member. Big up to you. Thank you very much for your support. Hope you're enjoying the shows. Really appreciate you, my man. Thanking you. Craig Scott, DJ, General Tracks, DJ. Big up to you, my man. Thank you very much for your generosity as well. Thanking you. And last but not least is Kicks TV, who said Eze 68 million or Grealish loan and Vissa 40 million. Which do you take?
Cool.
Well,
Eze probably.
Eze all day long, mate. Grealish on loan. I take Grealish on loan because he's desperate to get back into the England squad for the World Cup. So I'd take Grealish on loan for one season with no option, no interest in it, because as soon as you sign it, it'll drop off. But Eze for me all day long.
I'd find it. Can you imagine a front three of Eze, Vissa, and Kudus? For me, Sean, speak to your chairman.
I will, as long as you speak to your CEO.
My cousin Vinny alone, mate. Vinny is the man. Vinny's the guy who's making the decisions right now. So
there you go.
Is he?
Big up, Kicks.
Is he the man making decisions?
Johnny, facts or opinion is that?
I'm leaving it there, mate.
Stel,
can I just read a quick message, very quick, that I received?
Is it a personal message?
Sure. Can I just finish this? Thank you, Kicks TV. Thank you very much. Really appreciate this. Just for me, Kicks. I think that all three of the people you've mentioned there strengthen Tottenham from where we are right now. So I'm happy with these names in general, but Eze has got that little salt BAE thing going on, and he's got that little winning thing.
Stardust.
Why? I want to know why Kicks TV's logo is a picture of a bottle of Grey Goose vodka with Kicks TV on top. What's the?
He's out in what's that place in Thailand that where there's the hedonism is?
Phuket.
No, the other one.
Koh Samui.
No. I can't. What's it called? It's not on the. It's not an island. It's where is it?
PP.
No, it's another island. I forget. Don't matter. But yeah, he's into.
We've said that.
Oh no, Pattaya. He's in
Pattaya. That's it. Pattaya. Yeah. He's having the time of his life out there. His old Kixie.
Yeah, let me tell you something. Yeah.
The last super chat. Big up Florence Marple, who has just said, I love Lubo. Thank you. I didn't know Archie Gray watched this show, but thank you very much, Archie Gray in disguise. Sorry about your limited game time this season. Big up to you, Florence. Thank you very much. Stel, over to you.
I've had this message from someone watching the show, right? Stel, you're wrong about Solanke. He's going to be brilliant. Next season, you'll be calling him Solankane.
Right now, we're calling him Sir Wanky. Okay.
Solankane. I'm done. I'm done.
And guys, before you leave, it's terrible housekeeping. Till it's like having to take your shoes off when you come in and put your shoes on when you go back out. Before you leave, please hit the like button. And if you're here for the first time, guys, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't hurt. Help support the channel on our way to 25,000 subs. How near are we to 1,000?
43. We're 43 likes away, guys. There must be 43 people here.
Come on,
there is still 1,100 people here. 43 of you haven't hit the like button. Let's get to 1,000 before we round off. Come on, guys.
Come on. Press the button. You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
Let's watch the numbers. Are we going up?
There's the link. Hang on, I'll tell you.
Come on.
We have got
28 more.
28 more. Come on. Going up.
Come on, guys.
Come on, there's 1,300 of you.
17 more.
17. We're nearly there. We can't retire to come on. Drum roll.
12 more. 12 more.
Come on. Nearly there.
God, if you're sitting on the couch, just press that button. Some of you are watching on YouTube.
3 more likes.
3 more.
3 more likes.
Come on. Push.
And
Did you shout out push? It's like giving birth.
Push.
right, guys and girls, I'm going to leave it there. By the time we see you on Monday night, Spurs should have got Palhinha wrapped up. We will have played Newcastle United, and Johnny has assured us that Richie Eze will be a Spurs player by
100%.
Monday evening.
100%.
No.
100%. Take care, everyone.
We will have Eze and Palhinha going to the Allianz next Wednesday.
Yeah, in your dreams, guys.
Hey?
Here we go. Hang on. Florian Plettenberg, 4 seconds ago. Tottenham have secured an option to buy for João Palhinha and will cover the salary, which exceeds 10 million euros gross per year. Medical to take place in the next few days. We've heard that before.
Sorry. Exceeds 10 million euros. That's 200 grand a week. That does make him the club's highest earner.
No, it doesn't.
That was right.
No,
Euros.
You went too soon, Sean, mate. You went too soon.
115 euros to the pound. That means that he's on 173,000.
Yeah, but we don't know how much more. We said exceeds 200 grand. It exceeds 200 grand.
Welcome to the currency forex transaction show, everyone.
Sean, he's under Madison, Sonny.
No, but wait, Lugo. It said
one of you. It
exceeds 200 grand.
Sean,
It exceeds 200 grand.
Sean, number 3, you're still washing off the mud, mate. Sorry.
No, wait, but it exceeds 200 grand, so it could be 220. In which case, club's highest earner. Thank you very much. Good night.
He's only on 100. Anyway, who cares? It looks like that deal's going to be wrapped up tomorrow. Listen, please follow Tottenham Away. Please follow Spurs Talk Show. Please follow Football Inc. Everyone's links in the chat. Please subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe to that channel. And I'll see you in the morning
And this Twitter feed.
And this Twitter feed. Lubo never lets me do an outro. Like, have you noticed? I'm trying to outro the show. And please follow Lubo on X. Apparently.
Fuck it.
I said Football. Oh, my gosh. We need to get Lubo and Johnny a bit more well-versed with our YouTube show start and end.
No, I'm only winding you up, mate. I'm only winding you up. But Football Inc is the place to go.
Give up.
Oh, dear.
Yes,
Guys, take care. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm live at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. And then after that, you will have Football Inc. on in early afternoon.
Yeah, late morning, early afternoon.
Cool. So after, what I'll do is I'll transfer over after my show to their show. Please smash the like. Please subscribe. Thank you for everybody. Go on, Sean.
Is there someone we can redirect to?
Oh, God. Let me find out. Here we go. Yes.
Nice currency exchange channel that's going live soon.
No, hang on. I think too much of E's going, isn't he? One sec. We'll get there. Here we go. Okay, I am going to redirect this to...
Hang on. We got a super chat.
Yeah, I'll get there. Too much of E. I'll tell you what, it's so difficult finding. I wish YouTube just knew. Right, I'm going to send you over to Too Much of E. You all know Elijah. Please go and subscribe. I think he's just gone past the 1,000 mark on YouTube. But please go over there. Please say Spurs 5 raid. The Spurs 5 raid. Please share the love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.